find DF hacks like diagnostics commands to be very useful. Chat might be more useful with mod recommendations than myself, just because I don't really use any. Just dry it out, and then it's probably fine. Hi, Zetlin. It's good to have you. Thank you for the introduction. Let me just get the recordings going. Kind of miss the infinite universes. It's like I realized that we spent kind of a long time in that fort, but oh, trust me, there was plenty of crushing and shoving, but like there was a few things that they did at that festival pilot that were, how do I explain this? Built in such a way to stop people from getting hurt. Beer and alcohol were only served in the beer garden in the actual arena. Like you could drink whatever you wanted at your campsite, but in the arena, the only alcohol was in a seated only beer garden, which removed any chances of slipping in the pit because there was no alcohol in the pit, which was useful. There was water in the pit, but that was it. People could have water bottles, but there was no alcohol, so that in the pit. So that made slipping less likely. The second thing is it was just big enough that there was almost always space to move. And the last thing is it was an all ages show. There was like not frequent, but infrequent children on like dad's shoulders kind of thing in the pit. So everyone was like, yeah, hitting each other and absolutely shoving each other, but everybody was being like relatively cautious. Like there was a few bands with smaller pits where it was just, you know, fists flying. But the bigger sets were relatively safe because, you know, one, it's the whole floor moving, and two, there were kids there. Those kids had a fantastic time. I saw a kid sleeping on the bleachers with giant earmuffs on at like 11 o'clock at night one night. He looked like he was maybe 10. He was just like snoring. It's a good time. So yeah, probably I think those kids had a good time. Yes, I would guess. There's something kind of special about like a 12-year-old just surfboarding like this. But yeah, it entirely depended on the band pilot. So from YouTube chat's Orc Diplomat, I'm sure you don't come bearing good tidings. Hey Blind, a were creature attacked my poor old fish cleaner and got killed. One of the kids got bitten with a bruise. If they got bitten with a bruise and it didn't draw blood, that kid is fine. If it drew blood, the kid is going to turn into a were creature. So you don't need to expel the kid if the kid didn't bleed. I would isolate until, like, make them go into their bedroom or wait until they go into their bedroom and isolate them until the next full moon to check. So I need to make a temple for the heliotrope order, but let's run through the basics, shall we? Let's run through the basics. The named dwarves in the fortress are Bloodjacula, Lariska, Zwari, Wolfist Wolf, Merkels, Richard Putzwell, Darut, Miles, Ranger Rick, Croson, Rolf, Linku, Eric, Stormwolf, Moreb, glass half empty. I might turn the fan up. It's actually kind of warm in here. Darius, Soapgoat, Jay, Terminal Wetness, Captain Ahib, Brutal Pebble, Merlin. Oh shit, we got Mace Lords. That's cool. A very pissed off child, Zortos. And Corey No Pants, who was a baby at the time, is also pissed. I love how the two named kids are the pissed ones. The rest are all kind of fine. There's something very funny about that. We do have a couple monster hunters and stuff in the fort, and we also just have Pebble. Now, Pebble is the leader, or was the expedition leader of this fortress, and is now God of Pebbles, Baron of the fortress, and Baroness of the fortress. And she never acts without prolonged deliberation, even to her own detriment and the harm of those around her. She almost never feels discouraged, is intellectually stubborn, rarely changing her mind during a debate regardless of its merits, and she is quick to anger. She is not inherently proud of her talents and accomplishments. She is very curious and eager to learn and does not often feel lustful. She has a greedy streak, and she takes offered help and gifts without feeling particularly grateful. She finds helping others emotionally rewarding, and she is a friendly individual. She is not particularly interested in what others think of her, and she is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. She is often nervous, and she prefers to present herself modestly. She tends to ask others for help with difficult decisions, and generally finds herself to be quite hopeful about the future. She tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals, and inhales sharply when she's angry. She needs alcohol to get through the working day and likes working outdoors but grumbles mildly at shit weather. She dreams of ruling the world, which is fun, and personally believes that it would be a fine thing if all time were leisure time, and truly values merrymaking parties and sees power over others as something to strive for. Finds romance distasteful and values family and believes it is important to conceal emotions and refrain from complaining, and values tranquility and a peaceful day. Now, her husband, Soapgoat, is a were-kangaroo and runs a squad of were-kangaroos that are all right here. Maybe they'll start training soon. We'll see. Right now, they're all just hanging out and telling stories. Elfie. Let me just double... Yeah, he didn't. Happiest beardless dwarf is what Elfie requests. YouTube, folks, the first person to post 3, I don't know, pickaxe emojis, that's my default, can name a dwarf. Is a were-kangaroo. Turns into a kangaroo every full moon. Elfie Bean is incredibly calm and vengeful and never forgives or forgets past grievances. She is vengeful and never forgets or forgives past grievances. Was that after? Oh no, she's calm after seeing Fath. Huh. Anyway, she relies on advice of others during decision making and is not careful with resources when working on projects. She often spends unnecessary effort, and she takes no pleasure in her talents and appearance. She generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity, and she often acts with compassion. She tends to be swayed by the emotions of others and finds obligations confining, but she is conflicted by this since she believes in the importance of the rule of law. She is quick to anger, and she is brave in the face of imminent danger, and she is joining the military. She is not particularly interested in what others think of her, and she is a friendly individual. She tends to share her own experiences and thoughts with others and needs alcohol to get through the working day. In the last stream, Soapgoat. She personally believes that those who sacrifice for others should be deeply respected and doesn't particularly value loyalty, and dreams of raising a family in this dream was realized. She likes conglomerate, lead, and resin opal, as well as cherry wood and spotted webgong tooth, hemp fabric, dog parchment, gems, bucklers, slabs, and sheep for their wool. And the words of the oiled diamonds, and when possible prefers to consume alfalfa, lychee wine, and absolutely hates oysters. And her nose is sharply hooked. And she has a husband who's a fish dissector and a son who's a baby named Nomol. And you have a pet sheep who's dead. Yeah. So this is the surface of the fort, sort of. This is a Stone Age challenge, which doesn't really mean anything, to be honest. Essentially what it is I'm building with no farming. I'm only using like gather zones. So this zone here is gathering from all these trees, and also all the plants in the ground, plus a whole bunch of stuff outside well, I had one outside, I must have moved it. But anyway, there was a big one outside. Over here is the original fort because we started without a pickaxe or an anvil, but we did start with some wood axes, so we built a tiny little temporary fort out here. The entrance of the fort is these two main walkways, one which starts on the bottom and one which starts over the right. That there is the stairs that go down to the caverns, which is pretty cool if you ask me. These stairs go all the way down to this first cavern layer, which is very much open to the elements and dangerous as all fuck. I should probably make that less so. Future problem. It doesn't really go lower than that currently. We've decided not to so far. Maybe we will, but currently we haven't. I think there's a Forgotten Beast somewhere on the map. I think. Vaguely remember that. And the other thing that we're not doing is we're not giving anybody bedrooms. So most of the dwarves are just sleeping in this dormitory, but we do have bedrooms and offices assigned specifically to nobles. You can make stone swords, but I would need to go get obsidian. I'm not specifically making stone weapons, Lich Lord, because I want the game to be possible. There are quite a few different types of enemies that would be quite literally unkillable if I didn't use metal. So I'm still limiting myself very heavily. We're only using blunt weapons. So if a Forgotten Beast made of steel shows up, the fort's done. So I'm using maces, and I'm using bolts. And the only metal on this map that's useful for those two things is silver. Not even like metal Forgotten Beast even, like... If I'm only using stone weapons, like any zombies. So I want to have a fighting chance, but we're still limiting things. So I'm only using leather armor. So leather shields, leather boots, leather breastplates, all that. We are only using blunt weapons. Yeah, but I'm just, like I stated, I want the game to be fun and playable. The idea is to retheme the game, not to make it not fun and not playable. So if you want to make the game not fun and not playable, you're more than welcome to do the harder version of this challenge where you only use stone weapons, but I'm just not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that. We've got our well set up down here and all that. Sophidus, did you not have a dwarf? I guess you didn't. Must have been last fort. What kind of dwarf would you like? Why would you want to choose which drink to brew? You want as much variety as possible. What about dino settings? They're, like, tamed. Well, some of them are, but... Stone axes in adventure mode are essentially training axes in fortress mode, but slightly sharper. You can make wooden axes in fortress mode, but you don't want to use them for weapons. Like, fists are more effective. No, fur kick, because literally all you need to do is go to the, like, wiki page for mountains and just control F the thing you're trying to do. So if you want steep mountains, go to the wiki and do that. I didn't do anything special to get this. Like, I did nothing special to get this. This is literally default structures. It's just finding stuff. If you just go look at how I embarked on this map at the beginning of the VODs, you'll find it. Like, it wouldn't be valuable as a tutorial. Lady Dwarf for Sophidus. But yeah, it's not that I don't have time. I don't really make tutorials anymore. Unless I have a good reason to. Because they don't do anything except for hurt my YouTube channel at this point, there isn't the audience for them. Like, the one person asking for the tutorial at this point isn't enough of an audience for them to make sense to make. The only time making tutorials for a game makes sense is when the game is brand new. Like, at scale, about everything. Which is why you'll notice that the channels that make a lot of tutorials about the game that you want, and then 2 weeks later are making tutorials about a completely different game. Oh, sure, yes. Electra. You also can't use wood axes to chop down trees in Fortress mode. Well, it's not that they break in fort mode. They just don't do anything in fort mode. Like, the game also has mortar and pestles and, like... Oh, what are those called? They have, like, serving forks and carving knives and stuff that, like, none of that stuff does anything in fort mode. There's a few of those things. I'm going to reiterate what I just said if you want, JJ, but I don't see the point of doing that. Can't use wood axes in fort mode. You can use wood axes, you just can't use them to chop down trees in fort mode. That was changed sometime last year or the year before, within the last 2 years. But they made it so that you can't chop down trees with wooden axes because everybody agreed that that was really silly. Softopus is deliberately cruel to those unfortunate enough to be subject to her sadism. She accepts favors without developing a sense of obligation, preferring to act as the current situation demands. She isn't given to flights of fancy to the point of distraction and is brave in the face of imminent danger. She generally finds herself to be quite hopeful about the future and doesn't handle stress well. She is assertive and doesn't often experience strong cravings or urges. I mean, Minecraft takes shots at itself. It calls iron ore. It should be called magnetite. Those goddamn simpletons. She generally finds herself to be quite hopeful about the future and doesn't handle stress well. She is assertive and doesn't often experience strong cravings or urges. She has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others and often feels lustful. She is pleased by her own appearance and talents and is often cheerful and is often nervous. And needs alcohol to get through the working day. And likes working outdoors, but only grumbles mildly. Crap weather. Doesn't really care about anything anymore. She dreams of creating a great work of art and personally greatly respects their trials and labors and has a deep dislike of the natural world and is deeply offended by leisure time and leisurely living. Finds romance distasteful and doesn't feel strongly about the law. She likes cinnabar and iron and citrine as well as crescents and breastplates and hatch covers and hammerhead sharks for their oddly shaped heads. Cool, fair. And when possible, prefers to consume plum wine and absolutely hates mussels. Or hematite, yep. But yeah, I will make more tutorials, but I'm not going to make hyper-specific advanced tutorials, ever. They'll, outside of, like, cramming in little tidbits and bits of information into the edges of my, like, bigger movies, which is all I really do at this point. So I need a temple for the heliotrope order. This is kind of becoming my little temple complex right here. So I'm going to build one up here, I think. That's what we're going to do. When did I accept this? 3rd of limestone? 6th of sandstone. Oh, it's been like a month. Should probably get that done. Oh, okay. When people say break, I thought you meant like degrade quicker, but yeah, they just don't function. But yeah, I don't know. There's lots of items like that that just have no function in fort mode, which I think is kind of fine, actually. But at the same time, like, you know, it would be cool if there could be more function for stuff like that, but it just is what it is. How some traits matched you in real life. To those unfortunate enough to be subject to your sadism? We're just like, Wet Willy! Oh yeah, I did a little bit of fiddling, because I was wondering if it was like Proton that was making this fort lag. This fort just lags. I actually don't know why. So. It is running a little slower than I would like. At like 40-something FPS, 50-something FPS. But it just kind of is what it is. There ain't much I can do about it. Chat, what's something that Dwarf Fortress does that other games don't do, and now you're bothered by other games because they don't do it? I think for me, like, one of the things I liked most about Astroneer is that it, like, calls materials what they are. Like malachite, you know? This is one of the first things you have to go find in that game. And it's kind of nice to see that in other games, I guess. I think a good example of that is probably Vintage Story, you know? Just like, we're going to be overly... We're going to have to make you think way too hard about what you're doing here. Astroneer mentioned. That game was fun for a bit. I got lost in a deep hole the last time I played it and kind of didn't go back. Well, if there's something going on in DF Hack, I could test that real easily if you want me to. Why don't we test that? I feel like the only people that are actively making RTS games are making RTS games for esports people, and esports people do not give a fuck about that. Unless you just mean, like, aesthetic personality in, like, the StarCraft sense. It's the reason I don't play RTS games anymore is because, like, they don't really make RTS games for me. I think, like, maybe the only RTS game that's being made for me would probably be Beyond All Reason. No, Astroneer is like... you use big tube thing to blob the soil in the direction you want. I'm just going to disable DF Hack. I mean, if you made an RTS game, nobody would play it to begin with because it's an RTS game. 10 people would, and they would be like, netcode sucks and the balance is terrible. They wouldn't give you a chance to balance it, and then nobody would be playing it by the time you got it to a better state, so. And then if you made it super complicated like that, then even less people would play it. Like, you wouldn't be able to sell it as an RTS, basically. Which sucks, but it is what it is. What, RTS games? It's that bad. Like, the only reason to make an RTS game is if you and 10 friends want to play it. Let's see if something in DFAC is slowing it down. So this is with DFAC not running. It seems to be about the same so far. Because I didn't test that when I was testing it off stream. No, totally. I mean, Beyond Our Reason understands how to make a not hardcore RTS. Well, I mean, it's hardcore in different ways. But it understands that, like, some people just want to have fun. Yeah, no, I mean, I have it installed. Aiden not. Well, actually, that's not true. I have it installed on my laptop. Don't have it installed on this computer, but... What about DFHack? Oh, somebody in YouTube chat was, or in Twitch chat was just suggesting that maybe DFHack added something or changed something that was causing FPS problems, but... No. Not that I'm seeing. Because now I've turned it off. Basically, like, the last two forts I've run have been kind of laggy. At times that seems abnormal for me, at least for my system. You should go play Beyond All Reason then. Usars, if you liked Supreme Commander, you would like Beyond All Reason. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn DFAC back on. No, I think the problem with RTS games is people found out that they all sucked at RTS games. And when you have a genre of game that people just decide that they suck at it, the only people that will play it are the people who aspire to not suck at it. And so the only RTSs that do well are ones that are trying to enter the competitive market, because those are the only people buying in en masse RTS games. And I say that as somebody who decided he doesn't like RTS games because he sucks at them. I mean, it's free, Usaris, so you should try it. Eating the entire audience, there's no money? I mean, in the modern sense of the word, yeah, there's no money. But I think that there's a very small number of people to begin with who are willing to buy one. Oopsies, wrong one. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. To me, RTS games are really difficult to make these days for the same reason that fighting games are difficult to make. You know, if you're not one of the big 3 developers that make fighting games, then maybe you're an anime fighter developer, but otherwise, like, you're just not making fighting games because you don't have the pre-existing audience that will buy your fighting game. Like, it's very difficult to make and sell a fighting game to a new audience. And like,
we going unga bunga this time around?
Sure, why not? Naturally. Sam Texagon, thanks for the 47th month. Appreciate you, man. Are they discussed that? Sure. I think like the audience who played RTS games pre-2011 are now playing RimWorld. They're now playing City Builders. They're now playing Colony Builders. They're now playing games like Diplomacy is Not an Option. They are Billions. Games where maybe there is a competitive element, but it's inherently non-human competitive. Maybe it's a scoreboard. Because I think people are much more willing to swallow that and deal with that. It's why you don't see more traditional RTS games take off. I would actually argue that They Are Billions is kind of shit because its campaign is fucking garbage. Chat, can I get a round of beers for Sam? Please and thank you. Because I kind of didn't like the... Chat, just as a reminder, there's one thing that we do when people resub in my chat, and that's post beers. So when somebody posts a resub, you post beers. I shouldn't have to ask you. If I have to ask you, then we're failing in channel traditions. I mean, I'm personally really looking forward to DORF Strategic Combat, or whatever that game's called, that game that was a open RA mod that then ballooned into its own game and had a successful Kickstarter recently. Like, I'm looking forward to that because that thing looks incredible. But if the campaign sucks, I will play 2 hours of it and be mildly disappointed and never go back. You know? And like, I'm that guy who played a little bit of the survival mode in They Are Billions and was like, okay, this is neat, but I want to play the campaign. So I waited for the campaign, and I was very disappointed, to put it politely. And that's it. Let's build a temple for the Heliotrope Order. There you are, the God of Jewels. Let's throw in an offering table, which I think I've got several. Lead altars. A vile darkness of forces have arrived. The army is commanded by the goblin Olngu. Ruthless Rooms. I wanted to say Ruthless Mushroom, but I was like, that's not right. In the mid-autumn of 255, Olongo decided to become a baby snatcher. operating in the wilds. With them comes a war dragon from the Dark Goblin Fortress of Doomdub. So this is not a full-on siege. This is a group of child snatchers with a dragon. Now, where is this? As the wagons are leaving, of course. Oh yeah, also we caught a bronze colossus. I should mention that. I don't see any invaders. Let's give them a minute. We also have a dog and a duck out here. Looks like they're up on the top side. And it seems that one of my mace dwarves is bleeding profusely and is now swimming. Oh, never mind. Climbed out very quickly. But this goblin down here is still swimming. Jay, my soldier, charges directly in. And because they're only using leather armor, my dwarves are going to get swamped. Quite literally. But I think we're taking out a good number of them, aside from those who fell. Jay, Captain Ahib, as well as several other mace dwarves and one mace lord. There's several swimming. Thankfully, most of them have some swimming skills. No, not right now, Felger. Give me a minute. Once I'm done with the minute, then yes. It's 2 down. And 3 down. Okay. Well, it's time to put all the bodies away and get back to training. I need to make this bridge safer. That's something I need to do. People won't buy a single-player RTS, and people won't buy an only multiplayer RTS. You have to make both, and one either sucks or the other one sucks, and there's never a point where they both are good. If you want the least interesting dwarf in the fort, I can give you one of the were-kangaroos, but they are literally not going to do anything. I don't recommend giving these to you. If you insist, I'll do it, though. Volker. If you want a dwarf that might actually do things in their life, I could give you somebody else, but that's up to you. This is not new music. This has been in the game as long as the game has been out on Steam. This was, well, actually no, since Adventure Mode came out. So 2 years? All right, which one would you like? You could have Lumwil, Kickroast, or Feb. Volker. Cave Dragon. Sophitus. Oopsies. Fulliger has made the terrible decision to take the dwarf that is not going to do anything with her life. She often feels discouraged and has a sense of duty. She sometimes acts with little determination and confidence, prefers that everyone lives as harmoniously as possible. She has little interest in joking around, and she tends to ask others for help with difficult decisions, and she doesn't try to get things done perfectly, except for getting bit by a were-creature, which she did flawlessly. She tends to be a bit stubborn and changing her mind about things, and does not go out of her way to help others, and does not often feel lustful. She needs alcohol to get through the working day, and has gone without a drink for far too long. She doesn't really care about anything anymore, and dreams of raising a family, and personally sees competition as wasteful and silly, and values artwork. She likes earthenware, brass, tube agate, as well as heliotrope, or as well as trilobite chitin. No idea. Shields and breastplates and the sound of the lacy silk come impossible. She prefers to consume megalania flour and flounder and radish wine, as well as purring maggots. She has a pet sheep who's probably dead, if I had to bet, and you're a member of the Passionate Anvil. Welcome to the fort. Not necessarily. Basically, I'm not going to just talk smack about asking for the least ideal dwarf that you could have. So you say what you want to say. I don't agree, but that's just me. All right, I need to make this bridge safer. That's what I need to do. So maybe what I'm going to do is just make some floors across the side here. And some floors across the side. And wall, and wall, and wall, and wall. I also am going to need to block this. I'm going to need to block this. So what I think I'm going to do is build a little one of these. Across there. Little wall. Oh, of course, building's present. All right, well, instead of that, I will just go this way then. Go across there. Unforbid these boots. And let's see, how many tombs do I need to make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 2. No, I don't remember where I was putting coffins. I think, right, yeah, I was just building them over into here. That is what I was doing. I could start filling up the old fortress. Why don't we do that? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoopsies. Party is in a snowy area at the moment. Any funny ideas for things for you to throw at them? Throw at them snowballs. That's all I got. Snowballs. Okay, so let's just go down to the fortress again. And go to where I was working on this. And see what your value is. 26,000. Sweet. And Storm... I could give it to Stormwolf. Let's give it to Wolfist Wolf, actually, because I saw you in the chat today. And Stormwolf just likes being a scholar, so... Wolfist Wolf is now the holy periwinkle of the god of jewels, of the blue sanctum, and the heliotrope order. Yeah, a ambush that's, like, very hyped up and seems super scary, but then it turns out to just be some tomfoolery of kids with snowballs. Could be pretty good. Here's an idea. Give them some sort of oracle of the forest thingy, similar to what Wawa said, except also... It then gives them a good luck charm that they can like redeem for like some sort of valor or like future goodwill points or something from the area that you're in. But in order to use it, they have to keep a snowball from melting. So now you get to figure out how to bring a beer cooler with you for the rest of your existence. Like some sort of good luck charm that just fucking, you know, has to stay cool. That's the best idea I got. Sorry if it's not sufficient, but it's what I got. So this is a road right here, which is a bit of a problem. But I could build... that's fine. We'll just do it this way. Let's see how many pumps I have. Literally just one. Wooden pipes and wooden corks. Wooden pipe. Wooden cork. Let's just do 4 of each. I don't need a ton. I remember reading about transporting antimatter kept at some extremely low temperatures, so I'm sure there's a way. Have I ever met another Dwarf Fortress player in real life? People have recognized me in real life. So yes. What even collapsed? Tree maybe? Ah, yes, a tree. Well, is what it is. I don't think anybody died. I mean, people died, but... Or maybe it's like a one-use recall thing, and the way it's used is by melting. Linku? Like, perhaps it could be like a frozen thingy, and if the charm melts, then they get teleported somewhere safe. So they have to stop it from melting. Although I have been to PAX several times, Clint, so that's kind of unfair. If you just go somewhere where people play video games a lot, you will meet people who play Dwarf Fort. I also saw somebody wearing the black Dwarf Fortress t-shirt in the wild once. Didn't say anything to me or whatever. I didn't say anything to them, but I saw that once and I was like, huh. Well, that's interesting. What are you here for, Mr. Suspect? Don't have any cold cases, or I would go after you. Madam Suspect, actually. Miss Suspicious. Okay, so I do have some that are not marked just yet. But most of these do appear to be getting dealt with. In the world would a necromancer visit? Not only that, but a fisherman necromancer. Fortune Flicker is her name. It's a pretty good name, actually. Linku, thank you very much for the 5-pack of gift subs. It's very kind of you. Cheers, man. Chat, can I get a big round of beers for Linku keeping that subscription alive? For 5 individuals. Party walks into a town. I'm just like imagining the snowball fight episode from South Park. Nate's my name. Out a party member because one of them's only got like 12 HP each. That's pretty good. Snowball fight would be pretty good. Okay, so with that sitting there, I now just need 2 more. I just need to get these bodies out of here. So I need some way to dam this easily, ideally. Which means I probably should just throw a lever into here so that once I do build a dam, I can make something that opens and closes with relative views. Let's also make a little bridge over top of this sucker. And I can just get rid of these because we don't need them. And let's get some more pumps built once those are done, which we only have 1 of each for the minute. Although I'm sure that they are getting to those relatively quickly-ish. Yeah, through my singular carpenter shop, which probably should be expanded. Let's make another carpenter shop. Because I desperately need another carpenter shop. What's up, Top Hat Ranger? And Corey, hello. Corey No Pants is still alive, by the way, somehow. That's an ocean? That's definitely a creek, not an ocean. If that's your definition of an ocean, then you must live in a desert. Because that is clearly a creek. A very small one, even. Okay. Also, I need to repopulate my military. Oh yeah, they're all were-kangaroos, see? Were-kangaroos who are currently singing. Got so many random dwarves with some skill in combat. It's kind of wild, actually. Just get everybody filling these up. Let's throw all the peasants in there so that they can go learn a skill. And they get back to whatever they were doing before. Grumble. I was like, I'm going to queue this up because I think it'll be quick. Nope. No, it was not. It'd be quicker, but certainly not quick. Let's get those 2 done first. Pipe section, corkscrew. There we go. Now we're getting those done. The Titan will absolutely obliterate them. I don't really... Also, I'm assuming you're talking about the Colossus? No. No, that's a waste of both the Colossus and kangaroos. I feel like I could do more interesting things with both of them. Maybe like imprisoned goblins or something, but certainly not the... What the hell? I feel like... The Faith of Rights, and the Noble Fellowship. None of these names sound evil. Yet you're a criminal ringleader of the Noble Fellowship, and the Faith of Rights is your religion. Huh. I kind of want to kill that thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to here. We're about to get by an ad in a minute. I will pause the game during the ad break. I'm going to go out to here, and I'm going to make a pen pasture zone, which is just going to be right here. And I'm going to type in the word war. And everything that's a war something can just go here. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go train a bunch of things for war. That's what we're going to do. Because I do have this Afroventivor or whatever, and also this Titosaurus. I think I've got 2 of those. At least, but it's these guys up here that... Oopsies. Can be... Can't have the wrong button clicked. Can be trained for some war, so let's just do you. Why do I keep clicking on the wrong button completely? Oh, it's because you've already been trained. I see. I'm stupid. Do I have any grown ones that aren't fully... No, I don't. Hey. These are the ones that need to be trained, though. Because I do have some dinosaurs incoming. These things. Working on it. Yeah, that was the last patch. It was like 3 weeks ago? Tusco? Was that the beginning of the month? Well, you could mod hamsters to be war trainable, but you might want to make giant hamsters first. Caveman crafting. But it dreams of being an ocean? No, it's just on a long trip to the ocean. I don't know if water can dream, but it naturally will end up in the ocean, if nothing else. Because it's barreling down the little creek bed as quickly as it possibly can, eventually locating itself inside of the puddle. There isn't a single T-Rex in here. This is clearly an Afroventator. Venator? Afrovenator. Not a T-Rex. Just like this is a Tissantosaurus, which is also not a T-Rex. I actually haven't seen a T-Rex in-game yet, just in arena mode. There's a lot of dinosaurs in Dwarf Fortress that look vaguely T-Rex-ish, but aren't T-Rexes. Same family, you think? I wouldn't know. You'd have to ask somebody who knows what they're talking about, which is not me. Okay, so you can get unforbid. That enter volcano maps agitated. Only creatures that are... The only creatures that can be agitated are creatures from Untamed Wilds biomes. It's got nothing to do with the volcano. So if you settled on the Untamed Wilds near a volcano, then yes. But if you just settled in a wilderness map that isn't, you know, Untamed Wilds near a volcano, then no. It depends entirely on where you, in particular, settled. But all that I really know about that is that that dinosaur is significantly smaller than a Tyrannosaurus, so that's kind of like pointing at, you know, a Maltese and be like, that's a wolf! At least that's my head reasoning for what it's like. Like I said, it's like pointing at a Maltese and saying that's a wolf. I purchased some dinosaurs from the elves, but I haven't had much luck getting breeding pairs from the elves. Super app. The humans also bring them. So do the dwarves. But yeah, no. So the last patch that was added to Dwarf Fortress, to those of you out of the loop, was the first non-procedurally generated update that included animals in, oh Jesus Christ, a very, very, very long time, since like 2010. So because of that, we now have 100 more creatures, and they're all prehistoric. So not all of them are dinosaurs. Actually, only about 30% of them are dinosaurs after doing a full count. The majority of them are... Oh, Suxel, which squad are you in? The Crazy Goat? You have no use of your legs, so you should get to it of Zmilter. E right now. But like these are new creatures from that same update, right? Like, and they're like proto elephants. We've got Titan boas now. Some people were commenting that like some of the creatures are pretty similar to just what the giant creatures are, and that's fine as far as I'm concerned. There's a whole bunch of new animal people alongside of them, and so for those of you who just like the weirdness part of Dwarf Fortress, there's a lot of that, and a lot of the new creatures fit in very, very well with just kind of the fuck is that thing? Like, where was it? Oh, there's just a wild one of these things. Like, look at this. This is like, it's a little bird thing. Cynopetrus with the big bug eyes. Anything else on here that makes sense to show off here? Do I have something? No, maybe that was the last fort. I had this creature in the last fort that I just... Yeah, there it is, this thing. This thing. You know, like, this is one of the other new creatures. And this might be one of the most fucked up looking, angry, scary things that I've ever seen. Free it? It's a vermin, so it'll just disappear, I think. But the reason I have it in a cage, it's literally tame. The reason I have it in a cage is it'll disappear if I take it. I'm pretty sure it's a vermin size creature. Let me double check. Yeah, so it's a vermin. So if I free it, it'll just disappear. Do I have any glass? I've thought about making glass for it, but that's not a huge priority at the minute. I mean, there's sand everywhere, so I could make glass, yeah. Let's just get this pumped. Currently, the priority is to get the bodies out of this creek and make a dam here. The ones that they would bring in a siege wouldn't be trainable or usable by me. Super op. So if the elves will probably invade me because I've been, you know, doing horrible things to the... was waiting for that to happen. Because I've been doing horrible things to the forests, but like... Okay, oh, I see the problem here. I'm an idiot. I just drowned like 3 dwarves. I should have put a wall piece right here. Maybe they'll get out, maybe they won't. One, two. One made it out. 2 more dwarves I drowned. I should have put a wall piece right there. I kind of thought I did, but apparently I didn't. Welp. Eustuth and Limul. Well, I blame Rust. It's been 10 days since I played Dwarf Fort. Do they need an S-box? It depends on the dinos. Some of them do, some of them don't. But do me a huge favor. I've only seen maybe 5 of the new animals in game so far. So if you want to ask, like, do they need this? Just look it up on the wiki, because it's all on the wiki, and I will literally be doing the same thing for a while before I can tell you definitively whether or not something needs an S-box. Because some of them do, some of them don't. Is there a carpenter? Probably. We are doing... I mean, there's literally wood constructions right here. So, no, we're not doing any carpentry. I haven't seen a single carpenter. We've never done a carpenting of any carpent type. Of course we're doing frickin' carpentry. Which one do you want? It's Aerith, Edzul, or Ubel? I will say my biggest regret about this whole thing is naming this fortress a Stone Age fort. Because if I name it anything else now, then people will be like, oh, you started a new fort? And I'll confuse everybody. But I don't know what to say anymore. No carpenters, only carpenters. Aiden Knott is not a carpenter. But he does have a low sense of self-esteem. He takes no pleasure in his talents and appearance and seeks out exciting and adventurous situations. He is conflicted by this because he considers tranquility preferable to tumult conceptually. He finds a chaotic mess preferable to the boredom of harmonious living, and he is bashful. He finds helping others. He dislikes helping others, and he doesn't mind wearing something special now and again. He tries to do things correctly each time, and he doesn't often feel envious of others. He is slow. He doesn't cling tightly to ideas, is open to changing his mind, and he can handle stress. He likes to keep things practical without delving too deeply into the abstract, and he is assertive, and he often is nervous. He has a greedy streak, and he is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. He does not have a great aesthetic sensitivity, though he is conflicted by this for more than one reason. He is somewhat uncomfortable with around those that appear unusual or live differently from himself, and scratches his nose when he is thinking. He needs alcohol to get through the working day, and he is a hardened individual. He dreams of mastering a skill and personally believes that perseverance is one of the highest qualities that somebody can have. Views tranquility as one of the highest ideals, has a negative view of those who exercise power over others, values nature and doesn't really see the point of working hard, and he doesn't particularly value loyalty. He likes siltstone, black bronze, pink garnet, clear glass, and mandrill bone, clear top gray, warhammers, crutches, and cats for their aloofness, and trilobites for their shells and the sound of the golden rod of tresses, and when possible prefers to consume bobcat, cabbages, and cranberry wine, and acada seeds, and absolutely hates mosquitoes. You have a son who's dead. I know that because you're naked, and you have a kindred spirit who's the human maceman in the fortress. Welcome to the fortress, my friend. Let's just unforbid all of this. Everybody's picking up equipment, gathering crap, getting stuff out of here. Is anybody putting stuff into tombs? That's the question. 2 are. Let's see how many times this job cancels. Yeah, if they're naked, they're dead. Because they can't re-equip clothing if they're dead, and they would not be naked. So if I look at the thing, I can be like, and your son is dead. There you go. There you go. You made it out. Slightly sketchy, but... very loud backup signal outside, so I'm kind of not talking because I'm worried it's going to pick up, but it's probably not. My worry is probably unfounded. Okay, so let's see. How are we doing on this? 3 dwarves are hauling stuff to tombs. You really want to acquire objects. Maybe we should allow you to acquire objects. I mean, I still think that the one thing that's grimmer, Aiden, than a parent outliving their child in Dwarf Fortress is the baby becoming zombified, and then eventually you just see a zombie baby crawling around. It's like, well, you outlived your baby, but you get to carry them forever. Like, that might be the actual grimmest thing I've witnessed in Dwarf Fort. I have a question. How did it fall apart? Blue 11? That sucks. I will say, as somebody who rides a bike and takes relatively maniacal care of it, it blows my mind how often I see people riding bikes that are, like, not about to fall apart, but I would, like, affectionately describe as rust buckets. Like, it's not that difficult to maintain a bike, you know, like, give it some oil and a little bit of grease every now and again, keep, like, stuff from squeaking. And then just, like, person, like, passes me just, like, squealing as they're pedaling. It's like, my God, you're putting so much extra effort into just riding this bicycle that is not necessary. Any way to get a baby treatment at a hospital? Absolutely, yeah. No, if a baby's injured, they're Their mother should carry them to the hospital. Unless something's busted there, but I don't think that's the case. Why, do you have an injured baby who's not getting treatment? Dwarves are notoriously terrible at caring for their young, though. Your rust bucket was a gift. You hope someone steals it? That's how you keep your bike from getting stolen, is have the least expensive looking bike in the, like, bike rack. Oh, God. I would also start crying. Is it a quick release wheel? Blue 11? When I say quick release wheel, does it have, like, a little lever on it that you can, like, push, like, pop out and then spin? Because my mountain bike has a quick release front wheel, which is really easy to just, like, if you just loosen a screw ever so slightly, it'll literally just roll away. It's like the end of time when you pedal, nobody will steal it. Yeah, that's fair. In regards to gear ratio. But yeah, hopefully it's something that you're able to repair. It's like a 40-year-old Dutch-style bicycle made of steel and weighs like 60 pounds. Jesus. I'm like in two minds of that. Like, there's one half where I'm just like, you should restore that and put it on the wall like an art piece. And then there's the other half where I'm just like, you should shoot that bicycle into the sun and get a lighter one. Or just like put a sign out that just says, "Steal me, please," or something. Like, that's entirely too heavy to be riding on. That's just my 2 cents. Uh-oh. Dwarves all decided to take the really sketchy route, but that's fine. Water's going to take a little bit to get back. Okay. So. Now that I've got all this done, I need to figure out what the hell I'm doing. I need a way to dispose of bodies, which I don't currently really have. Which I could do quite easily down here. Right, this was where I was putting other bodies. Right. I should just make some tombs. There we go. It's a couple pre-makes. It's too heavy to steal. But it is heavy. It's steel. Sorry, there's a pun in there. I had to take it. Yeah, I think, like, there was one time I went to go ride my mountain bike, and I took it to the location I had to go to because I had to go get a blood test taken. Got to the place to get my blood test done, locked up my bike, and walked upstairs and came back down, and the front tire was completely flat. And that's like the closest thing I've gotten to that. And I didn't bring my pump with, so I just kind of sat there for a little bit, just kind of staring at it, figuring out what to do. And then some other guy rode up and was like, "Oh, do you need a pump?" He just had a bike pump. So I just borrowed that from him for a bit. What is Fluxer? Not Discord, not a Discord fork. Discord is not open source. It was originally a solo project, but they've hired like 3 people now. It's a open source Discord-like piece of software that is self-hostable. But it is not related to Discord in any way. And I kind of wish more people would use it, but I get why they're all on Discord, is because that's where all their friends are, and it's hard to get people to try a new platform, especially when it looks so similar to pre-existing ones, but It's an option, is what it is. And it's a option that I have because they've been pretty clear that they have zero intention of ever blocking regions or requiring ID. So my reason for having it is in a world where suddenly Discord requires people's Face ID, you could just VPN to that. Currently, they're individual instances, but there's planned optional federation. I don't know. Go look at their roadmap, Aiden. But I'm not self-hosting mine. Kitsune Kit, thank you very much for the 3 months. Welcome back. And there are like paid tiers similar to Discord Nitro, but that's only if you're on their servers. Otherwise, everything can be free if the person hosting their self-hosted instance wants it that way. And like, if you just want to have a pile of emotes, just go self-host your own server and then have a bunch of emotes, which I think is real funny. It's like, yeah, you could do the kind of Discord model of like paying for, you know, additional emotes and stuff, or you could just be like, nah. Well, it's more of a if, unless you live in the countries where it already does. Kitsune, thank you very much for the 3rd month. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Chat, you know what to do. You ride a kick scooter and you were taking the bus, and one time you had an old man steal it and take it for a very small joyride? That's silly. Who's that big trapped fellow? That's the probably the Bronze Colossus. I genuinely was trying to do one for a bit, and I just couldn't find one. Like, I just got bored of running around in adventure mode off stream trying to find one, so I just kind of gave up. Mitaro. So would I do one? Sure, if I find one. There are pygmy mammoths now? Oh, are you going through the list of new creatures? There's so many. There's megalodons and shit. There's all sorts of new sea creatures. All sorts of new other various creatures, which are all exciting as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I need more leather shields and I need more maces. Let's just do steel, or no, not steel, silver mace. Leather shield. And also leather helm. Also need to make some leather backpacks. Definitely something we need. There's a bunch of gear down in there, so I'm just going to get them pumping this again. And then refresh my squad's gear and let them go get the stuff from down in there. That's crazy to me. You become a tiny bit insufferable? In what way? Everyone must know the benefits of open source. Well, it's like, everyone must know the benefits of open source, but like, to me, it's just like, it's not that, like, I don't want to think that like I'm becoming insufferable about like preaching about options, but I just want to make people aware of there being options. Does that make any sense? Like, I don't really like go out of my way to like demand or tell people you should switch to this thing or use this thing instead of that thing. But I do definitely do my best to be like, hey, you know, if you're annoyed with this thing, you could use that thing. Does that make any sense? Instead of just being like, I'm a bit insufferable because I tell people that they have options. It's like, well, you know, if you're annoyed with Gemini, or if you're annoyed, it's the same thing with like, you know, being annoyed with search, right? Like if you're annoyed with Google and every other like search engine getting worse, you know, saying that Kagi exists isn't obnoxious. It's just making people aware of a product that they might not otherwise be, right? And I think that that's like not insufferable. I think that that's useful to some people. No, it's like, well, I think like what I've said the word like too many times in these sentences. I apologize. I think the way for me that I find to be much more effective than just, hey, did you know that you could use Linux? Did you know Linux? Instead of saying that, being like, hey, did you use computers back in like 2007? Because if yes, you might actually like Linux more than modern computing. If you have any nostalgia for that like period of time and computers, you'll probably enjoy this more. You'll probably have more fun with your computer. You'll probably enjoy the process of using it more, and you'll probably get quite a lot out of the customization options. I think that's just kind of a given, personally. I'm just scooching you off of this job so you go do your management for me. I mean, most people use open source software already and they don't even know it. You know, like, most people are already, using, like, Audacity at the very minimum, right? Like, most people are already using Audacity. Most people are already using VLC Media Player. Most people are already using various open source things without even knowing. 7-zip, yeah. Well, they're not riddled with viruses, Professor, but it just does this. Also, I think there's like at least 100-something cursors included with this. What is fast fetch? Here we go. I mean, it already did it, but fast fetch just does this, basically. It shows what all this. It's the I use Linux thingy. Also, it's behind my head. There. Cashy just does that by default when you open up a new tab. With 4 monitors, yeah, it's useful. Okay, well, you had a poorly set up computer back then. My computer starts up, like, faster than it takes me to walk from hitting the on button on my computer to sitting down at my computer. When I say nostalgia for, like, 2007 computing, I mean, like, nostalgia for being able to customize things, modify things, uninstall things you don't want, having everything on your computer instead of having to, you know, wonder where it was installed and then realizing it was installed in the cloud or move to the cloud after you installed it. That's what I mean. But I don't know. If you set up your computer in such a way that you had... that it took you literal like minutes to start up. Yeah, that's kind of seems like a skill issue, but my condolences. Let's go gather more plants once we're done constructing stuff. Please do me a huge favor and never use the P word in my chat. Suburban banana. You can talk about that, but please refer to it as like getting it from the Swedish Public Library, because believe it or not, I do work in an industry where I could get in trouble for using stolen software or promoting the use of stolen software. Appreciate it, man. Just use Cashy. It's like Arch with training wheels. Or like if you want to use Arch. then once you're comfortable with Catchy, you could then move to Arch pretty safely. If you want something that's easy, just use Mint. To make a Farmer's Guild. Wait, bigger Farmer's Guild? Grand Guild Hall, right. You're suing Arch, by the way? Wait, actually? I mean, Waffles, that's not really relevant to the entire discussion here. So if it makes you feel any better or any different, I installed Linux a couple months ago on a Mac from 2011, an iMac, like one of those stand-up ones. This was a computer that was running so slowly it could barely run a web browser anymore. This was a computer that looked like it was useless and probably e-waste. I installed Linux Mint on it using GNOME Desktop, or GNOME Desktop if you're a monster, and installed all the updated drivers, and it now runs Firefox just fine and can run modern like websites and work as like a web PC without issue, essentially making it a usable computer again that will now receive security updates going forward. What I'm talking about is customizability in computing and having options. If you want to just be a contrarian and be like, it was impossible to get good hardware back then. Yeah, same. I had a fucking 1998 computer in 2005. I get you. But what I had back then was the ability to customize what I was using to my liking, which you don't have now in modern OSs. So if you're gonna pop into my chat and be like, well, you could use like kernel level edits to edit that stuff, sure. But why don't you just install an operating system that just lets you do that on a base level without having to like compromise your security? That's what I'm talking about. I could have used Xface, but the person I was installing it for wanted the Mac familiarity. I've got Debian on my laptop. Did anyone else get an ad break? Yep. It was every 30 minutes an ad break hits, and that's why the game has been paused for the last minute and 30 seconds. And your kid can play Minecraft on it with a decent frame rate? It's got to have an alright APU in it then. I mean, trust me, there are many benefits to having stuff stored in the cloud for people that don't have digital literacy. Nate's my name. There is a lot of benefits to having offsite backups for things like photos. Like Google Photos or Apple Photos are like actually kind of awesome services for what they are. Same with stuff like, you know, Dropbox or even Google Drive. Like I don't have any issue with stuff being in the cloud necessarily. I have a lot of issue with my operating system not giving me the option. I don't think Arch hates end users. Arch just doesn't hold your hand. No, I don't have any tips. Unable to learn in YouTube chat. If they aren't using the nest boxes, they won't use the nest boxes. You might have to make sure that your dwarves aren't stealing the eggs and putting them into your kitchen if they are laying eggs. But they'll only sit on the nest boxes if they have eggs and also if they're mating. If they're not mating, there isn't anything you can do about it, aside from try to get more T-Rexes. So good luck. Maybe lock the door, lock them in. And make sure they stay trained. Make sure you don't cook the eggs if they do lay eggs. Most people just need one on-site, one off-site. That's it. Kesako. And by that I mean one on your phone and one in the cloud. Go jump in a river that is full of piranhas, suited giraffe. Yeah, I mean, unable to learn in YouTube chat, that's the thing that I try to go to my way to show initially when I'm raising animals, is I go into, like, the kitchen screen and I disable cooking eggs and then make sure that my food stockpiles don't contain eggs, because if they do, then the dwarves will just like yoink the eggs before the dinosaurs can sit on them long enough to make babies. So you're just sitting here eating scrambled egg omelets and you're like, why aren't my dinosaurs making babies? Munches on omelet. Man, this egg is delicious. So frothy. Nice and moist. Etch every bit of the image into stone tablets. In this economy? What do I look like to you, a Roman emperor? What kind of delusion of wealth is this? Well, thankfully on Linux, no updates are mandatory. Waffles, the Wonderfish. But, you know, some of them are smart. They're not mandatory, but you might want to. Depending on what the update is. Oh, there's some more coal. We're going to go mine through that. Marble is pretty. I tend to agree, yeah. This is just going to become storage. Just leather. I don't like using Debian. I tried for about a month. Because Debian doesn't support my graphics card locally or by default. So I have to manually compile my drivers, and I don't have fucking time for that. Somebody probably does. I don't. So I stopped using it. I'm still using it on my laptop though, because it supports my laptop. So, yeah. That's why I moved to Kashi, because it supports the non-open source drivers natively, which is useful when you have a graphics card that doesn't have open source drivers that don't horribly suck. Goblin Hammerman is visiting. Created masterpiece silver maces. Let's try this. Say, is any of them running this way? Guess not. All right, well, could probably wall this off, but I don't really have much reason to, so. Super sketchy, the route they always go through that. Super fucking sketchy. All right, let's up this Farmers Guild. You just use Ubuntu? Why'd you have to shout? I know you said sorry, Caps. It's all good. Ubuntu is totally fine. Yeah, I don't, like, I think, like, the worst thing that somebody can do as somebody who enjoys open source software is judging somebody for using certain open source software. Like, is there better open source software than others? Absolutely. Of course. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with anything. Like, if you're not using Windows, you're already better off. Or OS X for that matter. Like, if you're using something that's open source, you're already doing better than the alternative. All right, so something I'm going to do, I'm going to take these top two. And I'm just going to melee leather armor, but melee, or is it maces, this one? I'm just going to reassign all these dwarves to maces because then they'll go for stuff that should be accessible instead of the stuff that isn't accessible, which is quite a bit of it right now because quite a lot of it is in the water. Oh yeah, I mean, my server runs on Ubuntu. It's fine. It's stable. And also, I think the other bad thing that you can do if you are somebody who likes Linux and is trying to get other people to like Linux as well is telling people that you should use this one but not this one, and you should use this one for not this one, or ooh, you're using this one. Because I think the biggest battle that anybody who likes, or the biggest hurdle for people getting into open source software is just oh my god, there's a trillion options. And so, like, the worst thing that you can do is make it very clear just how many options there are. Are those elephants? Nope. These are Denothrums. They're from the new update, Garfield fan, which released a month ago. Have I ever played Slay the Spire? I have a hard time looking at Slay the Spire because it's so fugly. And I don't like deck builders. So no, I have not played Slay the Spire. One, because I think it's really fugly, and two, because I don't like deck builders. So no, I have not played Slay the Spire. I read that and blinked twice. Like, ugh. Yeah, that's all I have to say to that, Suited, is I read that and I blinked twice. Please name an animal Animorph Spy. Do you have preference of size or shape of animal? I've got kind of a lot. Got dinosaurs. Some of them are tame now, which is nice. I've got these young things. Why don't we give this Animorphs? Oh no, I can't because you're not nameable because you're vermin. I don't know. What kind of animal? Can be any animal? All right. That's what you're getting. Animorph Spy. Animorph Spy is a shapeshifter. She is not readily moved by art or natural beauty, and she is conflicted by this. She values artwork and its creation. She tends to make a small mess with her own possessions, and occasionally can lose focus on the matter at hand. She is not particularly interested in what others think of her, and she finds obligations confining, but she is conflicted by this for more than one reason. She tends to be a little tight with resources when working on projects, and is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. She is assertive, and she has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others, and finds helping others to be emotionally rewarding. There you go. I feel like this is a real good way to just make people scream at a wall. So to draft, so what's something that didn't piss you off this week? Because I agree, but also, Indeed. You bought an airbrush. That's a start. Yay for hobbies. What'd you buy it for? Okay, we're gonna go down to the deeper levels, I think, is what we're gonna do. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this not a fucking murder chamber of danger. All right. I think this is what we'll do. And then I will go down here and do like this. And all this and all that. So this is going to be segmented off from the rest of this underworld area. Not underworld, but like cavern area. So I can put a drawbridge at the end. So in case something murderous shows up, we can stop it before it gets into the fort. It's only suspect if you have a mind with the maturity level of a child. I came real close to buying acrylic paints this past weekend because I've been wanting to fuck around with paint for a while and then didn't. Because it's like, I really want to mess around with paint, but I don't want to spend the money on paint, so I didn't. I have no interest in painting miniatures, though. You're right. I slipped and banned my moderator for ruining all of my creative impulses and making me feel like I just have some sort of, inability to draw anything that doesn't make you immediately think penis because you are a immature child who insists that everything looks like a penis. Fine, you fucking happy, you dweeb? I'm ruining my shape setup. Why do I even bother to make cool things when I just immediately get told, well, that's suspect? No, you're suspect, you dirty-minded. Make these nuts bigger. Why is blind into paint? I'm not. I didn't buy paint. I'm into pencils, actually. You can't help but see it? I can. Also, apparently we found the Magma Sea. That's kind of wild. Ah, okay. It's kind of an awkward spot, though. I have no real interest in digital art in any way, shape, or form. So I don't really care if paint.net is free. So's GIMP, but it's not useful in my use case. That is the smallest iron deposit I think I've ever seen. It's like this tiny little line. Wild. Crazy, man. Thank you very much for the Prime sub for 4 months, Corson. Is there a way to make a truly safe fortress after the siege update? Oh, yeah. Just make a very defendable space. Trust me, it's possible. I've done it. I mean, that's like all open source software, though. Like, programmers are programmers. They're not, good at naming things. This is a well-documented fact. You want to know the dirty reality? Paper and pencils are cheaper, Waba. No, I have no interest in doing anything digitally because, my job is at this computer or at my laptop, and if I'm doing something for personal enjoyment, the last fucking thing I want to do is sit at the computer, which is why I basically never play video games. What is the purpose of this fort? What is the purpose of any fort? What is the purpose of life? I'm building a fortress only using leather weapons and leather armor and blunt weapons. Leather weapons? What? Leather armor and blunt weapons. And what is the purpose of it? I don't know. You need a lot more than just one bolt thrower, YouTube chat. There's no Control Z on pen and paper? I mean, pencils have erasers. I don't know. I can use art tools. I mean, I use them for making thumbnails and stuff, but I don't know. I don't get any joy out of digital stuff if I'm doing it for a hobby. Just walk away from the PC and be safe. Don't go to war with anything and be far away from everything. Or turn them off. YouTube chat. Or like set the game to automatically pause when a siege happens so that when a siege does happen, you come back and there will be a siege. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't something that was a valid option. Basically, to anybody who's confused, in YouTube chat, there's a person who's asking about making generational forts, and they want to be able to walk away from the PC and it'd be okay when they get back. I would just set the game to pause, which is what it does by default whenever there's a siege. So, like, you know, if something bad happens when you've walked away from the PC, the game will pause. Problem solved. Which can just be done from your announcement settings. Well, I mean, art is something that has skills that are transferable from one medium to another, right? I will say there's something special about having drawings and stuff that are real, but then you realize that I have a billion drawings and nowhere to put them, and half of them aren't nice enough to put on my wall. So, like, the fuck do I do with these drawings? Like, the nice thing about digital art is you can just delete it. Or just, like, store it, because those files aren't that big. Whereas, like, physically on a piece of paper or a board or something like that grows. It's like getting way into woodworking, you know? It's like suddenly, like, now I have no free space ever, anywhere, at all. Okay, this needs its own spot. What do you need? Oh, you're working secretly. You've got everything you need. That's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so you down here. I'm going to go jeweler times tooler. I'm just gonna make a gem stockpile. You can get deconstructed. You're making us an artifact. "600 years? Congrats, you've made it further than I have, Ezekiel Omega. My oldest one was 470. You should post some screenshots of that on Reddit if you haven't, because that's really cool. How many hours have you been playing that one fort if you've kept it alive for 600 years? Yustot the Woodcrafter has created Tath the Habur, a mango wood bracelet, and offers it to the Pebble Land of Pebbles. Oh, I got more dinos running around. I have stuff in cages. I do. I've got a weasel. Can train that. But let's check out this mango wood bracelet. This is a mango wood bracelet. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with round, brilliant cut aventurines and oval marble cabochons. This object is adorned with hanging rings of giant cave spider silk and menaces with spikes of mango wood and cobaltite and bituminous coal. On the item is an image of a four-sided long four-sided prism in mango wood. On the item is an image of a Day of Severity, the orange wood crutch in adventuring. On the item is an image of dwarves in adventuring. On the item is an image of dwarves in adventuring. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork relates to the formation of the Hall of Fells at Pebblebrain in the early summer of 253. So you this is the Farmers Guild. Right here. So I need to bump up the value. Pump up the value of this Farmers Guild. That is not an engraved wall. We're going to make a little space for it. For that artifact that just finished. This one. That bracelet. Wait, what do you feel like was a personal attack? Ice Blue. God, if bridges actually destroyed garbage, there would be a lot less garbage in a lot of places. Like a lot less garbage. Oh, the woodworking comment. Well, I'm just saying that you'll have no space for anything. Like, you need a... That's one of those things that, like... There's been people over the years who've been like, oh, Greg, you seem like the sort of person that would really like woodworking. You'd really like this. It's like, yeah, but, like, I live in a one-room apartment. I don't have the space for that. Oh, rent a makerspace. Why don't I just not do that? Like, I feel like the reason a lot of people end up getting into things like miniatures is because it is a creative hobby that has the same level of fulfillment as something like woodworking, but doesn't require a garage and then a second garage to put all of your unfinished projects, you know? Like, I don't think you should feel attacked by that. I think that should just be a, yeah, that's relatable kind of feels, but... We'll go figure out that lower cavern layer in a couple minutes here. So that they can be stored in a folder instead of needing their own room. Yeah, no, that's kind of what you need to do. Yeah, I don't know. I have a few paintings in my apartment, which were admittedly all gifts. Mostly from my aunt, because my aunt is I don't want to say, at what point does someone go from being like an amateur painter or artist to being a professional? She was an art school teacher for years and still works very part-time as a substitute art teacher, and like has shown art in like displays and what's the word? Has shown art installations in art places. Art museums. That's probably the word I should look for. Galleries, that's the word I'm looking for. And so she's given me some paintings that I have. And so I've been staring at those a lot recently. I've been like, I could do that. Which is a bad mindset. I don't think she can make a living out of it, Waffles. But she's definitely been paid for it. It's like a hobby that sometimes pays in cash. This is the way I understand it for her. She probably spends more money on materials than she makes out of it, but... Fiber Arts says life in constant fear of moths. Man, I've got constant fear of moths in my tent. Like my camping gear. She could make a living out of it if she tried really hard, probably, Waffles. What was I going with for this? Pedestals. I'm still getting back into the groove of things, and my body hurts, so. I'm very much I just took a couple days off. Now I need 5 more days off to recover from my couple days off. You started painting Warhammer minis last year. I know a good few people, by a good few I mean literally 2, who purchase poorly painted used Warhammer stuff on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and then repaint it better and sell them on eBay for significantly more money. Like double your money pretty consistently kind of level of thing. She's at least a professional art teacher, Sophidus. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I've been staring at paints recently. I'm waiting for an ad break to end. Because there ain't much I can do until then. I guess I could place a quartzite block right there, but that's about it. Swap that over to flooring. Oops. Yep. Stay paused, you silly. Although I will admit, I get paid to play video games. I really hate thinking about myself as a pro gamer. Like, nothing about that feels right. And will probably never feel right. For whatever that's worth. Let's check the gear status on these guys. Need more leather leggings. When did that happen? Over a year and a half ago now. No, that does not include Forgotten Beasts or other things. So animals are animals in the caverns. Forgotten Beasts are Forgotten Beasts. Invasions were specifically the little armies of dudes with weapons that would ambush you in the caverns. Those are disabled. For a while there was no Olms or Forgotten Beasts or anything appearing in your caverns at all because the caverns would get filled up with these stealthed invasions. That was a very specific thing, which means everything you see in the game right now is as intended without the invasions. It was like around the time Adventure Mode released that got disabled. But if you have fucking Olms running around, that's got absolutely nothing. That's nothing out of the ordinary. That probably was just 2 Olms that started making babies. And then they grew up. Like, that's perfectly normal and not a cavern invasion. That's all I can say to that. It's halfway the gamer. Being technically right is the best kind? Not really. It's like being discount correct. I feel like those are different ways of wording the same sentence, Wawa. So, no. I don't think so, but they only take a year. I'm pretty sure I've seen Gnome, or not Gnome, Olm Child before, but maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, I would just run in there with a fucking squad and just murder all of those pathetic little Olms that you're so scared of, Nate. I mean, if they were Olm people with spears, then yes, that's an invasion. If they were just wild animals that were olms, then no, that's not an invasion. That's just wild olms. Why do I keep saying gnomes? Olms. I can't say the word olm today. My vocal cords are calling it quits. I'm gonna stop talking to you about this, Wawa, because it's making my brain hurt. and clearly my brain is, like, not functional today, or fully functional. It's gonna take me a week to get back up to full capacity. So I'm going to ignore everything that you're saying about this technicality nonsense, because... see previous statement. My brains have been gnomed? I did spend 5 days in Armstrong, BC, in 40 degrees Celsius, listening to death metal. Four days, not 5 days. In my case, it's both, Clint. Okay, so let's get that done. Go over to here. Have you not made a single fucking pedestal yet, you lazy sons of bees? Oh. Like, have you not made anything that I need yet? No, because they literally ran out of boulders. All I have right now is charcoal. Of course, they have none, because they ran out. So yeah, if I'm a little loopy today, that's why. Yay? That reads like good news. Ice Blue. Just watch me, Brucey the G. Dwarf Fortress doesn't have collapses unless you remove all supports from a thing. It's supported from the top and supported on the bottom, so it's not going to collapse. Dwarf Fortress doesn't have, like, area cave-ins where, like, oh no, you didn't build enough supports, the game's gonna cave in. This game literally doesn't do that. It has the capacity to, but it doesn't. Because if it did that, most of the caverns would cave in immediately. Especially if you left it on the default settings. So make smaller bridges. Then you'll be at less chance of, like, you'll be in less of a dangerous situation when it comes to opening and closing the bridges. But no, you could dig out an entire layer and nothing is going to cave in. But, like, the fear is, like, understandable because there's so many other games like Dwarf Fortress that claim to be like Dwarf Fortress that teach you that that'll happen. So, I mean, it used to happen in Dwarf Fortress, but that was, like, the era of... This looks like a little worm with a top hat on. Just need to put that out there. That was, like, back in the boat murdered era. So, you know, it's been a while. Although, I like to tell this story because I think it's genuinely funny. The week Dwarf Fortress released, there was a channel that was streaming Dwarf Fortress, and I was sort of listening to them in the background. Not really. while I was editing something, and then immediately jolted up because I had to comment on something. There was a person who was playing, and their friend was talking in the background. And this person's friend was like, hey, so, you know, I've played a lot of Dwarf Fortress. Like, I can absolutely help you because, like, you know, there was on Discord or something. And this guy was digging, and, you know, he's digging into the wall like this. He goes, oh, no, not like that because there's no walls there to dig into. He was digging into the wall like this. I'll just pause the game. He's digging into the wall like this. And he just digs kind of a long one of these, and the dwarves had mostly dug it out, and then he starts making these little rooms. And this person on the call was like, oh, you should make that room smaller. And he goes, why? And he goes, well, you've made it smaller than 7 by 7. He goes, or bigger than 7 by 7. He goes, well, why would I make it smaller? He goes, it'll collapse after a bit. And then he goes to shrink it down, and I popped into the chat. I'm like, that was removed from the game in 2008. And the guy's just like, oh, well, you know, I played a lot of Dwarf Fortress, but it's been a couple years. Yep. It's been a couple years. Captain Abby Lance wants to join for the purpose of eradicating monsters. You know what? Sure, why not? I'll take a Goblin Hammerman. That sounds fun. Why not? What could possibly go wrong? We say Goblin Hammerman in the fort. So doors are useless. I'm not sure how you got that out of everything that I've said in the last 10 minutes. What? Chat, please, somebody else that isn't the person who just asked that question. How in the world does that make doors useless? I'm so confused. What does that have to do with tombs? No, I just looked at chat and I just see, so doors are useless. What? What the fuck makes doors useless? Where was the context for this? I'm scrolling up. I don't see anything. Like, nothing was said about doors. When you scrolled in your base. For what? Like, what? I mean, they just need 4 walls, and a door counts as a wall. So if you're designating multiple at a time, sure, they're useful, but what? People have such extreme statements on the internet, it's wild. Where I'm just like, yeah, no, you should do this thing this way. So that's useless? It's like, no, what? Excuse me? That's your takeaway from this? You saw that one room that I have doesn't have a door, and you're like, doors are useless. That's the question. And I'm supposed to understand what you mean by seeing a single room in my fortress that doesn't have a door. Fluffy. Nick Paw. Fluffy! Anyway. I like cookies. You hate cake is actually a really good describer from the YouTube chat. It's like, I enjoy waffles, but pancakes are better because... I like waffles. I don't know, man. No, it's fine. I think honestly, it's just the internet. People like type the way they talk, which doesn't always read all that coherently, which is fine. But no, I don't have doors on those because they don't need them. Is why they don't have doors, and I don't feel like making extra doors. Tarn has talked about making them, and ironically, the game used to have a mass grave site, and then it was not removed from the game, but changed into the system we have now, which I think is kind of really funny, actually. But no, doors are extremely useful, and you should utilize them to the best of your ability. Oh, speaking of hilarious things, you guys want to know the greatest thing I witnessed at the Metal Festival this weekend? I don't have video evidence of this, and I don't have footage of this. So you're just going to have to take my verbal descriptions as clear enough proof of this event actually happening, okay? So I was walking back to my campsite in between sets because a band that I wanted to see had just finished, and it was going to be a bit before the next band I wanted to see. So I was walking back home to go, like, cool off. It was way too hot. And I saw these two dudes sitting directly in front of each other in camp chairs, like looking straight at each other, knees basically touching. In between them was a little camp table with one of those Milwaukee brand, like, work site stereos in between them, playing some song by Cannibal Corpse. Couldn't tell you which one. It was a song by Cannibal Corpse. And they were both perfectly lip-syncing along with it while making perfect eye contact, both holding, like, the super tall, like, 700 milliliter cans of beer. And during breakdowns, they would stop and chug and then go back to lip-syncing without breaking eye contact. I watched for about 5 minutes. The song changed and they kept going. I don't know how long they did that for. There it is. I love that little sprite for the mango wood bracelet. I don't think I've seen a bracelet artifact with a different sprite yet. Well, that's intriguing. What a beautiful bonding ritual. That or they were at war. I'm not totally sure, Stoatmeal. Sounds romantic. I wasn't the only person watching, to be fair, Nick Paw. There was, like, kind of a lot of people watching. Maybe a dozen or so. Did I grab a tall boy and join? I don't know Cannibal Corpse that well. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is in a band that I saw that weekend as well. Challenge for the ages? I was also too busy drinking water because it was way too hot out to drink beer. Don't ruin their date. I don't think that's possible. How much value does this thing have? 8,000, so that should be good. There we go. Okay, it hasn't clued in yet. Wait, is this... Okay, there we go. It's now up high enough. So what I'm going to do is remove this briefly until you do that. Pull this. Expand that again. Need somebody to come in here and pull that. Body stockpile is kind of like a mass grave. I think what people want is they want an easy way to memorialize all corpses. I don't think mass graves should memorialize the corpses. Because, like, a mass grave is kind of the antithesis. People just want an easy way to designate a lot of tombs all at once is what I think people actually want. I don't actually think people want mass graves in their, like, intended function. People just want it to be easier to designate multiple tombs at once. At least that's my theory. Why my hunters not hunt if that is the only work they are assigned? They have ammo, they are standing, no job. They're not near enough to the wild boars. Also, don't hunt. It's tedious, annoying, and inefficient. It's easier to just put traps everywhere. Those are my 2 pieces of advice. Goblin Hammerman has given us some rumors. What are those rumors? So yeah, my advice is don't use hunters. If that means anything. Also, why are you trying to annoy me? It's not really annoying me. You're just wasting your own time typing. In regards to the queue. Like, it doesn't annoy me. It's just, there's no point. But if it makes you feel good, just use it. It's fine. But it won't make me see it faster unless you at me, which you know. Do I want to go attack them right now? I kind of do. Splash Cruel. What I really want to do is sneak into Doom Dub. But I wonder. Diplomacy. Make peace. Let's see what Shem can do. I'm actually kind of curious. How many... What would I need to fight that? 10 legendary dwarves would be able to fight it. It would just take a very long time. But you need to be able to win every single dice roll against whatever's in there. So a bunch of, like, war animals would also help. I've taken out quite a few of that size. But if they have a demon overlord, it would be very, very difficult. Like, what's their current overlord? Let's actually check. Okay, so it's led by a goblin, so it would just take a very, very, very long time. You use hunt to satisfy their desire to wander? That's fair. Gathering is the easiest way, yeah. Which is what I use. And that's why there's so many step ladders. And nobody has been stuck in the tree yet and died because of the step ladders, which is kind of amazing. That's a fucking black mamba. Wild. Crazy. It's cool, though. Is there a dinosaur down here? Not that I'm seeing. There was one. Me just trying to make all this safer, slowly. Ever so slowly. Or one sneaky drawbridge. Are they all standing under the drawbridge? Because if they have a single troll, the goblins would win. Because the troll can block it from falling and then crush it. It can also topple it. Safety, what's that? When things die the way you expect them instead of unexpectedly. Drawbridges are actually nowhere near as strong as they were a couple of years ago. Because there's actually kind of a lot of creatures now that can destroy drawbridges. Cave dragons can destroy drawbridges. They can topple them if they are raised. Sorry, if they're not raised. So if they're like in their upright position, cave dragons can destroy them. That's probably the easiest one to run into that can do that. Hot weather clothing recommendations? Less of it. That's all I got. I don't know. Chat, what are your hot weather clothing recommendations? I recommend those desert towels or whatever they're called. It's like the cloth that you wet and then you wrap it around your neck and it stops you from sweating. So it helps you stay hydrated. Those are lovely. But light fabric that keeps the sun off your skin is also very helpful if it's dry heat. You're currently in your boxers, but you've got to go outside in something more respectable? Nonsense. You just need to put on a hat and a cape. And then insist that you're a superhero. And that is your religious garb as part of your super religion. So that if they destroy your rights to go around in a cape and underwear, then you can go after them in court. Oh, Crocs, of course. No, I mean, yeah, you don't want to burn the feetsies. The leisure man. I am the man of comfortable garb. Join me in my quest to have, I don't know, no chafing? I don't know where I'm going with this. I mean, I definitely trust the statement in the YouTube chat, but Worm Delilah says that I can confirm that's legal and correct. Sure. Actually, no, honestly, low-key, kilt's probably not a bad thing. Anything with updrafts, you know? Although, jokes aside, hot weather, if it's sunny, sun umbrella, just actually take an umbrella. Like, you'll look dumb as hell, but trust me, being outside in an umbrella, with an umbrella, in that kind of heat is glorious. Because it's the best possible way to just never really have to, you know, completely hate yourself when it comes to the, like, need to be able to deal with the sun. I'm a big subscriber to the theory of just bring an umbrella. Yeah, bring your own portable shade device. Or a big fluffy hat. Wide-brimmed hat. Whatever works. What's this world gonna end up being? I'm gonna be honest, this world is kind of an in-between. I kind of ran out of ideas. So this particular world is mostly just me exploring the new additions to Dwarf Fortress. Look at all these dwarves. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it is early spring, so all the fruits for this season are out and about, and dwarves are gathering many a plant. There's now willow fruits and various other types of fruits all over the ground. They're all satisfied at work and enjoying their jobs and learning to tolerate the great outdoors, which is probably good for them. Necromancer on a T-Rex in adventure mode is possible, but there will never be mounts in Fortress mode. Tarn has confirmed this many, many times. Wizards don't exist in Dwarf Fortress yet, but Tarn is actively working on that. But there will never be dwarves mounted on anything in Fortress mode. That has been confirmed, reconfirmed, restated, reconfirmed, and reconfirmed again. But people will keep asking until the world ends. So I expect to answer that question 2 more times before the week is out, minimum. It's a very human thought. It's normal. Why no mounted in Fortress, though? Why do I have to answer the same question that Tarn has to answer this, like, repeatedly, constantly, forever, when it's been answered in many, many videos that I've made? No, quite literally, it's because, like, the way the AI for mounts works would have to be completely changed, which means the code for babies mounting, being carried around by their mums, would have to be changed. The code for mounting creatures in adventure mode would have to be changed. The code for enemy invaders invading you with mounts would have to be changed. The way adventure mode mounts control, function, and work would have to be changed. And the amount of, like, unforeseen rewrites and consequences for that to function and be even remotely interesting would not be worth the outcome of having some dwarves on mounts. And I don't care. That's why. 20 years of tech debt? 20 years of never planning to add a feature that the developers don't want to add. That's not tech debt. They don't have any plans to add it. It's the same reason Dwarf Fortress doesn't have multiplayer. It's because they never planned for it. You can in adventure mode. G-Money. I met a level 10 wizard at the metal festival. Bone Doll. He had about 20 beer cans duct taped together in the form of a statue, or of a staff, and he was wearing robes made out of what looked like a very thin, light morning coat. And he had a big hat on, and a fake beard. And he said that he was a level 10 wizard. And that meant that he was qualified to run the drinking games. And they were all BYOB. Seems almost a necessity. Not in the slightest, but it can be useful. Several people have done that several times in the past decade. Off the top of my head, there was at least 6 different multiplayer mods that have existed in the last 5 years. At varying levels of playability. So that's nothing new. Yeah, there's 2 that are actively in development that I'm aware of. But I'm like very hesitant to try either of them because both of them are like, or at least one of them that I looked into was very heavily vibe coded to the point where I'm like, I don't know, man. It's very funny, G-Money. I mean, what's useful about mounts is having something to put your extra stuff on in adventure mode. Like, that's really it. It's like the carry capacity. I kind of don't care at all about ships because I don't want them the way that Tarn wants to make them. Tarn wants to make them as something that the player builds and customizes. That just sounds slow and tedious to me. If they were just wagons that went on water, sure. But ships are one of the features I could not care less about. What's a planned feature I'm most excited about? My answer is always whatever Tarn's working on next, which currently is magic. And oh wow, that's wild to me. An elven caravan from Zepave Zyquinthi has arrived. Your status as a middling land has attracted more trade than usual. Overall, trade sentiments are very good. Even though they yelled at me last time they were here for chopping down all their trees. I mean, cool. Maybe they'll give me a quota this next time. I think, you know what? Okay, none of this exists in Dwarf Fortress, period. But, you know what I would like a lot more than boats? The ability to go up to the overworld and center on your fort. And maybe click on your fort. Maybe click on something else. And what if there was a capital project button here, where you could send a request to the mountain home to do a capital project. And a capital project could be any number of things. A capital project could be a road. A capital project could be a tunnel. A capital project could be a bridge. A capital project could be a fort. And by fort, I mean like these little castles that the humans build, like these things. A capital project could be a new mountain home. And then you would have to send a messenger to go petition for the capital project. And if they succeed, then they would give you a list of materials. And then you would donate some of your workforce and those materials. And then on the overworld appears a road going from place A to place B. And I think that would be significantly more, like maybe a boat could be an option there as something for that. I don't necessarily need to physically build it myself or see it. I just want, you know, maybe you want to get over, skip this landmass without having to walk all the way around. Or maybe you want to go to that island for some reason. Maybe your next fortress, you want to get to these volcanoes and be guaranteed to have trading. So you could do a capital project from here to there, capital project from there to there, capital project from there to there, and capital project from there to there, or just from here to there, or whatever. Like that is 1,000 times more appealing to me than having to physically do something like that. Like, it would be really cool if, like, oh, you're gonna build a road, which would just bring a lot more traders and more visitors, kind of thing. Like that to me, like when people talk about things that they want added to Dwarf Fort, I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't disagree with this, but like, you know, right now we don't really have the ability to capture a lot of different types of animals on one map, right? Well, what if you could put like a hunting and trapping camp out here, which once a year delivers a small, like, you know how you can demand tribute? Maybe once a year it would deliver tribute of whatever they caught, you know? So like they bring you some leather, a barrel of meat, and like 2 chimpanzees that they caught in cages or whatever is in that area. Like something like that. Like that to me is infinitely more interesting than like making me go build a boat. Because realistically, if Tarn adds the ability to build boats, I'm probably going to do it once and then never again. Like, I want more interactions with the map. This dwarf's going to go read the tea leaves. But I know that, like, as part of the updates that Tarn's currently working on is we're supposed to be able to muster mercenaries out in the overworld that will be things that we acquire by bugging your local helixes. So that gives you more reason to want to have helixes in your forts, you know? I'm actually going to shut off the upper level gathering from that side, because then I can just focus on in here for that, because that's a lot of jobs right now. Yeah, just a mobile trade depot. I think like a lot of people's mental image of boats for Dwarf Fortress is a lot simpler than what Tarn has talked about. So when people talk to Tarn about boats, I actually get kind of scared. Because I really don't want boats that the player can build. I actively kind of don't want that. I want boats to be like a prefab thing, a simple prefab thing that is straightforward and clear to set up and interact with, that is more of an overworld interaction than anything else. Just like I would like to be able to create my own trade caravans. Maybe you need a monarch to do it, but I would like to be able to make my own trade caravans and have some reason to be able to do that. I don't even know what you're asking in the context of, and so I assume it's bullshit and you're just trolling, so I'm going to more or less ignore what you said. Suna Giraffe. I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm going to assume it's bullshit. I caught a black mamba, I caught a whatever that is, and a whatever that is. That's just adventure mode in regards to Dwarven Raiding Party. Just gonna bring this. It's a tin cage. Let's deconstruct you. Mayor Amy, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. What's up, Tanky Girl? As well as Tilted Gaming. What's up, Barrymore? Witchy. Hello, hi. So Dakota. Welcome to the fortress of thinking too hard. I'm very out of it. I was at a festival all weekend, and my brain feels like pudding. But aside from that, I think we're doing pretty well over here. How was the fort today? How was the stream? Mods, can I get a shout out for the raiding party, please, and thank you. And if you're new here, my name's Greg. I play too much Dwarf Fortress. Sometimes I play other games, but pretty rarely. That's more like an anomaly. It should probably be investigated by some sort of authority. A fey mood, perhaps. Strange mood at the very least. That might just be the weather, Mayor Emmy. I mean, I don't know where it's like where you are, but where I was last weekend, it was 50 degrees, felt like 50. It was 50 degrees Celsius in my friend's tent, about 40 degrees Celsius air temperature outside. And it was not hell, but pretty close to what I would assume hell would be like. It was pretty tough. I assume they're still unloading. Maybe not everything has arrived. Hath not everything arrived? Let's try again. They'll be ready soon. Still unloading. Okay. We'll wait. Pudding brain is probably a delicacy in some cultures. Not mine, though. That's too hot to exist? Yup. That's why, contrary to popular belief, I went to a metal festival all weekend and drank very little. Like, there was people drinking at, like, noon, and I'm just like, I don't know how you're doing that. I'm gonna sit over here and chug water. Okay. Greetings from the woodlands. We have much to discuss. We are partial to the particular trees in the forest surrounding your lands. You always are. Although we loathe to spare a single branch to your senseless slaughter, we are willing to ask that you cap your tree fells at 25. Oh, that's easy peasy. I will try to return next year as I am able. Alrighty. 61 trees. Perfect. Because they like me. Minus the weather? Yeah. It's okay. They had very large heavy metal fans, which helped keep all the heavy metal fans cool. By standing in front of the heavy metal fans. I'm not actually joking. There was just giant fucking swamp coolers everywhere. So it wasn't too bad. After a bottle of whiskey, but just keep going. Yes, but that's a movie. That's not reality. So no, absolutely not. I did drink some tequila one night, and that's how I ended up on a inflatable dock on top of a crowd of people. But that was fun. Not that I would recommend anybody do that at home. Huh? Is this a Jean-Claude Van Damme thing that I don't know? Celsius is a drink? Celsius is a drink. Sure, but it's also a form of temperature. You know, your username is starting to really check out unable to learn. It's like, there's a local band out here that has a bunch of songs about Lord of the Rings. And he's like, we wrote this song. It's about my favorite book, about a hobbit who takes a ring and throws it into a volcano to destroy the Dark Lord, and somebody in the audience screams, "That's a movie, dumbass!" That's what that reminds me of. That's a movie, stupid. Nope. Don't even know what that is. Bad Lotus. Pro tip, invest more than one, Wawa. And type in exclamation point tickets to see how many you have. Because the best you'll get back if you only invest one is one. Yeah, and it's called... well, actually, no. I was going to say it's called Arizona, but in regards to hell is a place on Earth. What's this investment game? How have you been in this chat for as long as you have without figuring that out? You type in exclamation point tickets, you see how many you have, and then you can invest them to win more if you want, or you cannot. Either's fine. A man who falls in love with a woman who's really a cat. That's really funny with modern context. Like, that's really fucking funny with modern context. Especially in a world where anime exists. That's very silly. What am I supposed to do with that information, now that I know that this exists? Do I... Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, I should probably butcher some creatures to get a supply of leather up and running again, because... Yeah, okay, so these guys are going up real quick. So all the ones that are just trained, I'm going to butcher. Oh, you two I'm also going to butcher because you're caged. So to the ones that are trained, I'm just going to butcher. And I will keep the ones that are tame, is what we're going to do. Also going to butcher the Black Mamba. Butcher you. I'll butcher the cat. Okay. There we go. Getting some more animals slaughtered, which is gonna up the leather supply again. So we've been running low. Go get him, Pebble. Nope. No idea. Although I'm not super well versed in like cartoons, especially if they weren't like oddly specific to the region I lived in or live in. Oh right, yeah, they have scales, not leather. There's very little you can do with scales. Current track is sick. Well, I hopefully it's not sneezing too loudly or something. I don't know. I never had TV growing up. But I've never seen a single second of Ed, Edd and Eddy. So what is the most... Like, my parents were very... We don't care about TV. There's better things to do with your day, people. So I think I could maybe count on one hand the number of cartoons I watched. I don't really have any emotional or social attachment to cartoons. So I don't know. You tell me. I vaguely recall watching some episodes of Total Drama Island when I was younger, but a little bit of Ben 10. But fuck if I know, man. Canadian television is also very, very, very different from the stuff that was available in the US. So stuff that you associate with like being popular cartoons, a decade ago is very likely not something that was even available where I live. And cried for hours when they canceled Ed, Edd and Eddy? Sounds like I missed some childhood trauma then, by not having emotional attachment to cartoons. It also saved me from having any interest in really watching anime. I watched like Avatar: The Last Airbender because my ex wanted me to see it. So I watched that. I've seen that. I've seen all of the original of Dragon Ball, same reason. Most of Dragon Ball Z Kai, same reason. Yeah, I don't know. No, it's not weird. I would actually say that my parents had the right idea that there's better things to do as a child than watch TV. Like, not to be too real, but like as a 30-something now, I don't think many kids should be sitting on an iPad at the age of 5 or 10. Yet every child I see is on an iPad, and I think that's kind of how my parents felt about TV, is that they watched people that they knew just kind of rot on the sofa watching television all the time. Like, yeah, it's okay once in a while, which is why we had movies. You know, like, we were allowed to watch movies on occasion when it made sense. But it wasn't like, you know, the only thing we did with our time by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it's a good question. I kind of figured they hadn't all made it. No. Something happened there. Not sure what. I guarantee you there's like an animal somewhere out here that is like stuck or got attacked by something. It's got to be what happened. It's almost always what happened. It's okay though. The one time in my life that I watched a large amount of TV was when I was homeless. And that was because I couch surfed a lot, and there was 2 places that I slept at quite regularly that both had televisions on all the time, and so during that period of time I watched a lot of Lost reruns, although I already knew the ending, so it was like kind of weird watching that show without knowing what the ending was. And I watched a lot of like History Channel shitty reality TV, like Ice Road Truckers and stuff, but I never watched cartoons. At least not on TV. Like, all of the cartoons that I've watched are like, you know, on streaming services or other services or something else. Oak Island. Was Oak Island ever... Oak Island, like, is one of the most successful pieces of nonsense ever created by humanity's silly brain. Like, it is wild how, effective that show is at keeping you watching stuff that makes no sense, doesn't matter, and is complete bullshit. It's wild how effective that show is. Like, I watched like 3 episodes of that show once because it was on in the break room at my old job, and I was like, this is an awful show. Why does anybody watch this? At least like Ancient Aliens has some value to it for entertainment. This is just dumb. The original story of Oak Island is much more compelling than that TV show, that's for sure. Ghost shows have been doing that for years as well. I would argue ghost shows are significantly more entertaining though. You know? Like I like when it comes to reality TV that's bullshit, to me that stuff's totally fine. As long as it's like entertaining while being also bullshit, if that makes any sense. I think a lot of ghost shows can be quite entertaining. I don't think Oak Island is particularly entertaining. I think it's just kind of dumb. Sorry to just be mean to the fine producers over at Oak Island, but like it's unlike Seinfeld, which is actually just a show about nothing. It's actually nothing. The treasure is the ghost? Sure, but like watching people walk around in a dark room and going, bah! When they get spooked by something is way more entertaining than watching people like sort of break work safety laws while doing kind of sketchy things on a random island that they bought and then occasionally finding a coin. You know? Like if I'm going to choose a ghost, I'm going to choose dark room and sketchy barn and probable like concern of getting tetanus versus, you know, that. What? Oh, never mind. They finished making that. That's cool. Let's get this checked, double check, triple check that they didn't cancel it. Yep, good, sweet. So I can put this wall piece back in. And then I can go over to here. The only trauma I have from Oak Island is hearing the music come on when the episode's starting, going, oh god, this is what I have to deal with on my lunch break again? I would rather watch Pawn Stars. When was what added? Shadow of... Well, choosing ingredients for brewing? I mean, not really. Not from this screen, anyway. But using give and take stockpiles, you can be picky. Yeah, the elves are leaving. I don't know what I did to screw up on that, but I did something. I mean, I would make, if he thinks it's true, I would make fun of him. I think there's nothing wrong with, like, watching Ancient Aliens and laughing at it. I enjoy it because I think it's really dumb, but I don't take any of it even remotely seriously. Like, I think when people start taking stuff like that seriously, I get a little worried, actually. Because, like, that's just not healthy. You mean the country of Ireland? Halfway Gamer? I mean, when it comes to just like... Okay, the only actual benefit of shows like Ancient Aliens to society is it gets people interested in cool actual historic sites. I will just say that word because apparently I can't speak today. I think that the unfortunate outcome is people take it very literally and don't realize that it's bullshit and the people on it are bullshitting for entertainment. I think of it as satire, but apparently people don't know what satire is. So the reality is, like, idiots just think it's fact and go, see, I told my teacher she was wrong, etc. And then the result is you just get, like, more anti-intellectualism, which really blows and doesn't benefit anybody. But, you know. I'm breeding fruit flies in my living room. Does that count? Also, that's such a whack conspiracy theory that I've never even heard of that one. Why would you breed mosquitoes in your basement? If you want some good conspiracy theories back when conspiracy theories were fun, chat, I do highly recommend going onto your favorite podcast app and looking up archives of Coast to Coast AM and listening to the 1999 to the year 2000 special of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Because it's just people ranting about a bunch of shit that we all know wasn't the case. It's so good. It's so good. I don't even know what that is. My favorite conspiracy theory is Finland isn't real. Because it's just so... It's one, kind of absurd. Two, absurd but also kind of believable. And three, really silly because then you tell anybody from Finland that. They're like, man, I'm starting to think that Finland isn't real. Am I not real? It's very fun. The moon is a hologram. No, it's made of cheese. Come on, Wallace and Gromit explained this a long time ago. It's a well-documented fact. Oh, everybody in Finland is like, wait, what? The conspiracy theory about Finland isn't real is purely based around fishing rights. Thanks for the subscription, Mayor Emmy. Appreciate it. Brand new tier 1 sub. Check. Can I get a round of beers? For the first subscription in an hour. Appreciate you, friend. It's good to have you. Also, Finland is in fact a real country. That's all. Just like Canada is not on the moon, as much as sometimes I wish it was, because god damn, it's probably cooler up there, and also it'd be nice to be further away from crazy people who are unfortunately close to my borders. The 1999 to 2012 hour special that they did. It was basically over the New Year's into the year 2000. And Coast to Coast is the like conspiracy theory radio station where crazy truckers will just call in and be like, I saw aliens, Art! And it's a good time. But it's especially a good time because it's like they just are all going on about how the bombs are going to all go off in the year 2000 because it's like that the computers don't know how to compute the years and all the times are going to be broken and all the traffic lights are going to stop working and he's like, yep. Well, I wouldn't say played along. He does like ask questions, but he doesn't like, it's not really pressuring them too hard. The mud floods quickly explained they believe that that society has built all infrastructure on top of old buildings that were wiped out. Some huge mud flood covering the entire earth. The evidence buildings have windows all the way down to the ground in some old pictures of muddy places. Oh. All right. Is that like the all like mountains are old trees and all trees are made of silicon theory because there's one mountain that kind of looks like a tree trunk? Because that's one that amuses me sometimes. It's almost the level of birds aren't real, except I think some people think it's, like, take it seriously. How much time and money was spent not having computers break? I know a not small number of people that are about a decade older than me that made a lot of money in college and, like, late high school just, like, fixing the Y2K problem. Like, I was talking with somebody once who was like, yeah, no, I made $40 an hour just doing IT for the local university, and I wasn't even in university. Whoa, okay. Yeah, that's going to give us a good supply of extra rocks for a while. In, like, 1999, can't find my zombie. That's why I said in 1999 to fix the Y2K problem. 1999. Look up what your local minimum wage was in 1999. Correct. You clearly did not, because your eardrums have rotted out, because you are a zombie and you can't even find... Wait, no, sorry, you aren't a zombie. You just can't find your zombie. Well, okay. We can either confirm or deny that you're a zombie. My suspicions of your eardrums being rotted out may, in fact, be false. However, still suspicions. Sus. Also, in the most recent Future of the Fortress, I say the word Pegasuses because somebody wrote Pegasuses and then they said Pegasus is, and then somebody else commented on that video. Pegasus is plural of Pegasus. To which I respond, Pega is sus. Please discuss. Your parents bought a generator for that? I'm not gonna lie, owning a generator, especially if you live somewhere that's not on the on a city power grid, maybe not the worst. Even if you're on a city power grid, maybe not the worst idea to just have a generator in case. You know, you never know. Like, there's prepping and then there's just like, yeah, that's just kind of smart to have. It's like in the current year, it's probably not a bad idea to have a big battery that could connect to your house and power it for like 72 hours. That's probably just smart. Actually, it's like having some canned food around. Isn't it Pegasi? All words are made up. Fuck if I know, man. Urvad the Presser has been possessed. I'm gonna send out Brutal Pebble. And we're gonna go steal some stuff, I think. Human Castle. The mysterious monster. I gather the goblins didn't, in fact, decide to be friends with me. So we will invade them. So I tried to make peace with them, and they probably said no. It was not successful because the goblin negotiated and had mastery of negotiating and denied my requests for peace. So we'll just go attack that Splash Cruel. Give them a cruel splash of their own medicine. And as I start that, the Forgotten Beast era has come. Forgotten Beast of many eras. It is a great scaly earthworm. It has thin wings of stretched skin, and it's bloated and a bloated body. Its green scales are jagged and far apart. Beware its webs. Well, that's not good. Well, it can certainly get into my fortress. Sure. I shall position my Marksdwarfs down here. And I shall position my Bonkstick Dwarfs in here, in case of emergency. I think you and me live very different lives, Bone Doll. Because I could not disagree with that statement more. I don't think it's possible for me to actually disagree with that statement more. Yeah, I mean, if you live somewhere where there's tornadoes. I mean, I live somewhere where there's pretty frequent earthquakes. So it's generally, like, wise to have some canned food around and, you know, a flashlight, spare batteries. Travel safe, Clint, in YouTube chat. Thoughts on the new diplomacy stuff? It needs more clarity and interactions, but it's a solid baseline for mechanics that are planned to be expanded upon in the near-ish future. So that's kind of my thoughts on the diplomacy stuff. So there's one elephant up there. The beast has wandered off the map. It's off in this corner. The one area we don't really have access to? Oh, no, we do. Yeah, we could get out there. Do I want to, though? That is the question. There they go. Gonna double check their bolts. Yeah, they've all got bone bolts. It's just the webs part that's scary. What if I send them back to training? Maybe not Ballista. Gonna have to keep track on that. Where'd you go? What are you claiming? Grabbing God knows what? Well, good luck. It's gonna be like, you don't have a rope or something. We'll see. Let's go military. Where do I want to put you? I'll just put you right here. Although I screwed up the placement of that first one. For dinos lay a lot of eggs, yes. Yeah, definitely make sure that you get them butchered at a reasonable pace, or you will have more dinosaurs than you'll ever know what to do with. It's also just going to here and unforbid all of the stuff that I constructed just now. Look outside and it's windy. I was like, oh, that explains why I'm hearing stuff getting blown around on the roof. It's going to take a little bit for them to actually build these. So I've had a few Forgotten Beasts just like fly off into this darkness over here and disappear. Should I be worried? I'm actually just going to grab the brave volunteer Saigon. See what you say. Well, you're actually going to go station there. Let's see where you end up. It really is our lives. Only 30? Wait until you have 620. Wawa. I had somebody who was like super sarcastic on my dragon video about how I bred a couple of dragons and then did nothing with them. To which I have to say, I had 56 dragons by the end of it. Okay, Ruvad has begun a mysterious construction, which is good. I might actually need to start harvesting cavern foods as well. There you is. I'm going to get you reassigned to right here. And I'm going to go down to here, and I'm going to set all these to standard select. Nope, nope. I'm going to set all these to this. Set all this to this. Because that beast is now visible again. And here it comes. Enemies can attack you with mounted animals, but no dwarves in fort mode can ride animals. No player-controlled characters can mount anything. If you're playing adventure mode, dwarves can absolutely ride around on dinosaurs. Hey chat, remember how earlier today I was like, I'm going to need to explain this before the day's over? But there are no mounts in fort mode, there have never been mounts in fort mode, and there will not be mounts in fort mode outside of mods. Urvad, the presser, has created a durian wood crown and claims it as a family heirloom. Unrelated, but my captain of the guard needs a chest. It's a cool looking crown. This is a durian wood crown. All Craftsdwarf ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with octagon. Cut violet cespertines and encircled with bands of durian wood and Santosaurus bone. This object menaces with spikes of durian wood and marble and sterling silver and fine pewter and Santosaurus bone. On the item is an image of Meng Ringdirge, the dwarf in durian wood. On the item is an image of a icahedral icrahedra in Adventuring. And put it over here. What good is a family heirloom? I mean, I'm going to protect it on their behalf, you know, like a safety deposit box. I don't have a single bolt artifact. Bolts are just high value and an easy way to inflate the value of a room. So I don't have a single bolt artifact. Also, that top squad has now returned. Let's see how they did. They snuck in undetected by the mysterious monster and stole a bunch of books, mostly Record of the Gutter, Student's Gutter, the Factual Codex, The Truth About the Pits, the Profane, the Performance the Easy Way, not the Profane the Easy Way, The Author in Glory, Treatise on Stroke Hatred. Here to stroke your hatred, chat. The Truth About Stroke Hatred as well was also stolen. So we stole a good couple books. We can research about them. And Beast should pop in here anytime now. Or not. If it doesn't, then we'll have more chances to finish these. That'll be nice. Fire, if you can. Oh boy. My god, this beast is just playing peekaboo. Oh no. Oh no. It actually found a smart way in. That's terrifying. Oh, this ain't good. This was like the last way that I hoped it would make it in. It looks like it was able to kill one of my elite mark stores and a boyer, but then fell rather quickly. The actual hit that killed the Forgotten Beast was a wrestler kicked the Forgotten Beast in the body, bruising the muscle and bruising the brain. Well, good job, dwarves. For killing the beastie. Kicked it to death, yep. Death by kickins. And I need to get this thing butchered, if I can. Get owned, idiot beast. Honestly, I think these dwarves deserve a vile force of darkness for their great success in murdering the terrifying monster. A mild award, if nothing else. But at this point, we just need to get this butcher shop put together real quick so that we can test this sucker out. I also need to get some vermin remains set up down here or something. Something. Okay, so you butcher an animal. Do it now. There we go. I'm actually really curious about how much leather we're gonna get out of this thing. Run nice and quick. I think we can get a couple more vile forces of darkness than that. Chat, I think if you are subscribed to this channel, you can post vile force of darkness. Doesn't it have scales? I don't know. Does it? I honestly don't know what this was. It was a worm, so I don't know. Maybe it has scales. I don't know. We will find out. We will, in fact, find out. Regardless, I just want to get it butchered because otherwise it's a waste of potential materials. Yeah, skin. There you go. See, right here. As well as a bunch of meat, amongst other things. Like, by weight? Probably. By, like, effectiveness? Not really. Like, obsidian has some sharpness to it, right? Nothing... I don't know of any other stones in Dwarf Fortress that actually have sharpness to them. Well, that's the weight of the skin, which means we'll probably just get 10 leather. Because I'm pretty sure there's a cap on the amount of leather you can actually get from super heavy creatures, which kind of irritates me a little bit. It's better than it used to be. It used to just be you'd get one leather from one thing, so like a Forgotten Beast would give the same leather as like a dog, which used to bother the hell out of me, but... What I really like is just the mental image of a donkey hauling an elephant in a cage, Pepin. That's my personal favorite. Okay, now you're up on the surface. Let's find out. Although you're probably just carrying it to the stockpile. Yeah. Age of Empires transport physics. Yeah, I guess, but didn't the later Age of Empires games have little wagons? I would actually say that this is more believable than Age of Empires transport physics, because at least in Age of Empires, they walk the same speed regardless of if they're carrying something or not. In Dwarf Fortress, they move significantly slower if it's heavier. With the cartoon elderly donkey to mind? Yeah, no, absolutely. Just the back breaking under the weight of the giant cage on their back. You know what I'm excited for, chat? This evening, I get to go grocery shopping because I got home the day before yesterday at 10 to midnight and then was too tired yesterday to go grocery shopping. So I've had rice and soy sauce and an egg for every meal since I got back, which is fine. But like, I can't wait to have other things again. I'm also making bread, so I should probably go punch that. It's probably inflated quite a bit. right, you guys follow this skin. I will be back. I'm gonna go punch my bread. BRB. I can confirm this dough is in need of punching. This was like a fifth this size when I started. All right, success. It's only dirty if you think it is. There's nothing dirty about making dough. Smitchell, thanks for the raid. Appreciate you. Chat, can I get a round of beers for the raiders? For Smitchell and friends. There we go. We got that durian crown over there. And pull that lever. I read your short story, the sci-fi one. It's okay. It was nice. It was fun. Felt like watching a Star Trek episode. I bought some books from Telenartho when I got my e-reader. But literally like DM'd him. I was like, how much for your books? But I just want like the DRM free versions. So I've officially purchased books through a Discord chat. That's I think a first for me, I gotta be honest. But how was the streams, Mitchell? I'm like very much mostly out of it still. I just got back from a metal festival in which I did this, which I'm not going to play the music for because it's very, I don't know. I don't want to risk getting a content ding for the dumbest shit imaginable. So I'm just going to go here and mute the tab. Go to albums, click on this, scroll down. And then go to... Where is it? There we go. Look at me. Don't do that at home, kids. It's not safe. No, seriously, like it's a very, very easy way to break your neck. Definitely don't do what I did. And don't be like this guy who lost his shoe later. But, yeah. I've shown that video to a lot of people now. And it tends to get 1 or 2 responses. It's like, oh, that looks like it's so much safer than crowd surfing. No. Just go crowd surfing. It's way safer than that. Like, yeah, you're less likely to have somebody, like, poke your butt. But, like, it's way further to fall, significantly heavier, and way easier to, like, tumble off that and just land on concrete than it is if people are carrying you. If people are carrying you, like, the whole group needs to simultaneously decide to drop you. That you just need to slip. I'm in an ad break, so I'm going to let the ad break finish. But if you made it in, if you guys don't know Smitchell, you should go give Smitchell a follow for more Dwarf Fortressy related content. It's lovely. Seriously. Think of the poor publisher? I'll think about it. Yeah, which is why I gave him money directly. Something self-publish. Well, actually, it was more, I didn't want to buy them through Kobo or, like, why am I blanking on the name of Amazon's e-readers? I didn't want to give one of the big companies that sells ebooks money and then just rip the DRM out when I could just be like, hey, can I just buy them? Can I just send you some money and just have a copy that I don't have to rip the Kindle? That was it. Kindling! But no, I mean, I've now figured out how to rip DRM out of ebooks. So that's kind of cool, I guess. I didn't realize that was a skill I needed to learn. Went fire product? I mean, sure. I mean, it is a product of Amazon Fire. That's a lot of claystone blocks. Wait, yours didn't always do that? Am I? Why don't you just, like... I was gonna say just plug a computer into it, but I guess jailbreaking is probably actually easier. Oh, wrong one. You, right here. What'd you miss? I killed a forgotten beast, and it killed some of my dwarves. It's mostly what you missed, I think. Beagle Beagle. We are invading the goblins, and I tried to make peace with them, and they said no. Angry face. I'm gonna try something really dumb. We're gonna go raid the big population location. I want to know if my Mace dwarves can sneak in and sneak out. How's the weather treating me? The weather where I live is fine. I mean, it's what, I think today's kind of warm. It's like 23 degrees or something. But where I was at that metal festival, it was 43 degrees Celsius on the hottest day. So kind of warm. The humans have arrived, and their status as a middling land has attracted more trade than usual. Overall, trade sentiments are lukewarm. Did they bring wagons? Nope. I think it's because they literally decided to appear right here, where obviously wagons would be, like, inaccessible. So I'll take out a little bit of a space there, but don't know how much that'll do. Trade. 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 Ooh. Yeah, I'll sell all those. Why not? That's 88 items. Should come over pretty quick. Oh, wow. They returned really quick from that. Let's see how our attempt to sneak in there was. They snuck in undetected by the leafy spider of the mysterious monster, and they searched Doomdaub. We have acquired several books, including Discourse on the Fortress, Meaning of Doomdaub, and... I'm sorry, they have the Jungle Bulbs was stolen from the Cathedral of Bulbs? What is Jungle Bulbs? It appears to be an ornament earring containing an image of an octahedra in clay loam. Good for you, Dwarf.
Hello. The banana spider in my window is eating a cicada. Do you want a picture in Discord?
Chat, do you want a picture in Discord? I personally don't care. Maybe censor it, though, because spider. We got a tame helmet snake. Well, that's fun. Let's go attack them again, except this time just go for livestock. Then they leave again. I'm gonna give my county those earrings. They're not very valuable, but... absolutely nothing in Fortress mode completely useless. Don't bother. There's some things you can use some serious gimmicks to make useful, but not useful to you. Don't bother. They're a trade object, that's it. But let's see how those dwarves do this time. Although if they're able to return that quickly, that might actually be a very efficient way to train up some better skills and such things. Well, they've brought some stuff. Some stuff. If nothing else. Wax is used for wax crafts, which is fine. They don't. Beagle Weagle. Unless you've got some mods that makes that happen. Also, why'd you ask the same thing twice? In like less than a minute, Beagle Weagle? Do you have short patience or short memory? But yeah, to answer your question, they don't. Lag? Sure. Makes sense. Happens to the best of us. I did see it the first time, though. But I don't understand the question. That's not something humans do. There are no fishing nets in Dwarf Fortress. So if you are seeing fish nets, you've got a mod, and if they're making them out of dwarven hair, that's also a mod. So to answer your very elaborate question with a very elaborate answer, they don't? I don't understand the question. Trade. Done. Greetings, says the human counselor Tekwa Longingdor from the noble, and they say greetings, noble dwarf. There's much to discuss. It's a pleasant place. They've updated my maps. What do we have? Oopsies. News and rumors. The town of Glad Squid, the very smiley squid. It seems that Thoran Playape has become the sacred lilac of the sect of jail, replacing Osmo roasted poison. Did he get roasted for his toxic attitude? Over here in the Vice of Spittle, it seems that a goblin has become the sacred zephyr of the mindful coven, replacing Ruckust. Certainly, but there's no nets in Dwarf Fortress, Lich Lord. Also, humans wouldn't be doing that because that's more of a goblin activity. Unless they have close ties with goblins. But I will reiterate, there are no fishing nets in Dwarf Fortress. So sure, they might be using dwarven hair to do something, but if they are, then they are of goblin allegiance most likely. So one, they're probably not humans, and two, there are no fishing nets in Dwarf Fortress. And the question was, why do they make fishing nets out of dwarven beard hair? They don't. Because that isn't a thing that exists in the game. If you've modded it in, then why are you asking me? I understand what you're saying, Lich Lord. So the way human ethics work in Dwarf Fortress is they have like a lot of personal choice laws, which means it isn't mandatory. With goblin ethics, it is mandatory. So there are certain humans where you might get that, certainly. But once again, that defies the point. Because the question was, why are they making fishing nets? There are no fishing nets in Dwarf Fortress. Do I need to just say my statement louder? I quit this discussion. Like, if you want to yap at me about dwarven ethics, here, I'll consult the grid. They're not semi-random. They're actually quite hard-coded. When it comes to humans, justified with good reason for killing member of same entity. Justified if no repercussions for killing neutral. Killing an enemy, acceptable. Where is it? Making a trophy from a corpse or of a sapient creature or race. It's acceptable in human society. However, you'll only get that if that person is cruel, which isn't that common. Because that's the religion they worship. Are you trying to keep that goblin away from their chosen religion? Hanarib, that's kind of mean of you. There's just no laws stopping them from doing it, but they'll only do that if they are cruel. Volume is always the answer? I mean, the question was about, like, fishing nets, but... the resolution of my monitor is the resolution I play at, 1920 by 1080, and this is something that you should check. Scale interface to fit grid height and width. Yes. No. Do not do that. And you'll probably have what I have. All right, where are we at here? A herbalist's guild. I don't think I've ever had a herbalist's guild demanded. I mean, it makes sense because, like, all of my surface farming is being done by gathering, so that makes sense. But my gosh, I don't think I've ever had a herbalist's guild demanded before. That is a first for me. That is a first for me. Well, let's build a herbalist's guild. We demand a shrubbery, says the herbalist guild. Probably. We are the knights who say eep. Or it is inevitable, one of the two. How's Squatty McDoing? They went and raided once more. They stole livestock. What do we get? Oh my werble. Okay, so we got a cave dragon, 2 jabbers, a bug bat, a giant cave spider, a cave dragon, and a voracious cave crawlers. And a beak dog. Okay, hold up. We're gonna go up to... right there. And go jab. Okay, never mind. We need to wait for them to re-enter the map. And a giant cave spider. Wait, what? Bro. That's incredible. It's quite difficult to get free silk out of it. Because I need it to fight with something that isn't my dwarves. It won't just fight with my dwarves. But getting something that isn't friendly should be pretty easy. Like a weasel. The problem is, it'll shoot it to where the Colossus is, right? So then, like, it's really easy to have a wild thing that shoots webs and get them to shoot webs at something that you have, that's on your side, and then go and gather the webs. It'll put a bunch of webs on the Colossus, but I won't be able to go get them then. So I would have to do, like, that kind of inverted. Oh, dude, I can make money out of literally anything. You can't take venom out of creatures. At least not out of giant cave spiders, to my knowledge. Like, making money in Dwarf Fortress is not a concern. But no shit, I can make money out of it. Time to capture a goblin? I don't want a goblin. Just a wild animal would... Yeah, let's... No trainer. We'll keep that weasel, because I can just use the weasel. All right, chat. I gotta be completely honest with you. I am about to fall asleep at my desk. And this is kind of a lot. I think I'm going to think about what to do with this jabberer over the next 12 hours. Or not jabbers, cave spider, and come back to you guys with a plan. But we're gonna have to steal some more of these. Because, unfortunately, it's not war trainable. Dragons are, though. So what I think I'm going to do is we're gonna wind down for the day. I'm so sorry for your loss, Orange. I hope you survived this calamity. And we'll build that herbalist guild tomorrow. My goal was to make it to 7 hours today. I've almost made it to 5. And I've got sleep I need to catch up on and other unrelated work to do. I've got a video I'm working on, and yeah. So, YouTube folks, I'm going to shut you down now. We'll be on tomorrow now that we're back. There will be a hopefully full-length stream tomorrow, and a hopefully full-length stream the following day. But I do want to say a real quick thanks to the YouTube folks who tuned in today and spent some time around here. And for the Twitch folks, we're going to go raid somebody, so please stick around so that we can go raid someone. And YouTube folks, if you want to come raid somebody, pop over here onto Twitch so we can go say hello to somebody. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Same Dwarf time, same Dwarf channel. Hopefully less Dwarf headache. Sound good, YouTube folks? Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. And Twitch folks, I want to know, how was the stream for you today? Could you give me a rating out of 10? I'd love to know what you thought of today's stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for all the bits and I think that was 95 cents in bits. I don't think there was any others. Thanks for the bits. And thanks for the resubs, the prime subs, and also for the raids. There was kind of a lot of raids today, so it's very kind of you guys. I am gonna go grab the raid music.